everyone. Welcome to the Felicity, Optimist versus Cynic podcast with us, your hosts, Melissa and Fish. This is a Felicity rewatch podcast. We'll watch an episode each week and join you here to talk about it. The reminder we always give, this is not a spoiler-free podcast, so you could hear some things when we cover this episode that come up in future episodes. That's how it works. So if you want to hear some things that may come up in the future, this is the place to be. I am Melissa, and I'm here with my lovely co-host, Fish. Fish,
Yeah.
how are you doing today?
I'm lovely today. Yeah, lots of stuff. So we had to record back to back, 2 days, not like 4 hours and then 4 hours. But yeah, a lot of stuff was it was bugging me yesterday. I'd lost my little microphone thing for my new earphones, and you ever had one of those days where it's just like, all right, like a bunch of stuff just all went wrong.
Yeah.
And then today, everything went right. So it was like, hey, everything's working, found the microphone, it was hiding from me.
Okay.
But I got it. And just everything's going good.
Oh, well, how about that? Well, maybe that will, infuse its way into how you feel about the episode or not. I don't know. We'll find out.
Yeah.
But we are going to talk about season 2, episode 17. This one is entitled Docuventary 2, Part 2. This one originally aired April 12th, 2000. And it was directed by Stan Salthus. And this one was written by J.J. Abrams and Tracy Abrams, who I meant to look up before this to figure out who that is. But I didn't. And maybe I'll do that when I throw it over to you. So here's the episode description. As Sean films his pals' love lives for a second time, Ben tries to field Sean's queries while masking resentment at Felicity's attraction to Greg and dealing with his own unresolved feelings for her. Meanwhile, Felicity applies to become Greg's paid assistant. Noel stresses about losing midterms he has yet to grade. And Tracy deliberately provokes Elena. Okay.
They got like 1.5 sentences right there.
Well, it's not that far off. I
don't know that Ben was masking anything towards Greg.
He's not masking it to us.
Or to anyone. He just continues to say he's a dick.
I guess the problem is that Felicity isn't noticing.
Yeah, he's masking his issues with Felicity.
Yeah,
not so much his feelings about Greg.
I think that's a fair observation. Like how she's not noticing it at this point, I don't even know what to tell you. But one of the things that basically, as soon as this episode was done, I said to Fish, I have double the notes that I normally do. Is that reflective of where you are? And Fish was like, oh my God, yes.
Yeah.
So I don't know what that means, but there's a lot to cover in this one. And I'm wondering where you want to start with it.
Well, I think I would like to start with there's good news, bad news on the Greg front, because let's just dive right in to Greg. Yeah. Look, if you are a Greg fan, which is none of you, or if you hate Greg, which is all of you,
yeah.
Either way, there's some good news and there's some bad news from my perspective. The good news is Greg cut his hair, and I don't hate it. I mean, all of the hair product in the world has already gone into the main cast's hair. So he is one of the only characters sans hair product.
Okay. Or obvious hair product that we can see. I did notice what was happening in Ben's hair.
All of them. They did it to Noel.
I mean,
they did it to Javier. Oh. They did it to Jim. They didn't do it to Doug. But everybody, the hair product budget was high
Like
for
the
this
gel
show.
sponsorship was
Yes.
significant for the, okay,
Yes.
fair enough.
Um, so, you know, I was appreciating that. So I will just say that, like, I have no issue with his new haircut. I think he actually looks good with it. On the other hand, I am going to be calling Greg out big time for this episode.
Oh,
So, yeah, this is definitely my least favorite Greg episode, and kind of like, I was liking him before, still liking him. Like, he was pompous, and I wasn't a big fan of that, but I could forgive it. Then I was liking him for 2 episodes, and now it's like I'm really, I've already started rolling down the hill, and the
hmm.
question with the next episode is, am I going to gain momentum or not? Because
Yeah.
I'm already going pretty fast
Okay.
downhill.
Okay.
So we'll just, yeah, I'll continue to talk about that. Also, not a fan of Dr. Pavone in this one. So Melissa and I are going to have a lot to talk about, I'm sure.
Yeah. Okay. That's
Yes,
interesting. All right.
great.
Well, we will just have to go ahead and see. Shall we start from the beginning on this one? I don't know if there's like, I think we just go in order because there's so much like little
Back and forth and
scenes,
back and
everybody
forth.
folded in. Yeah, it would be really hard to pull out any one thread and maintain
Yeah.
it.
I mean, we could pull out the Elena Tracy stuff, but there's no real reason.
I don't think there's a, yeah, I think we just go in order with this because, this is ultimately part of, a very stylized episode. We've seen this style before. They did a documentary in freshman year in the first season,
And
and
we
now
both
we're getting
liked
the
it.
part two. So this one, not every single scene is done in the documentary format. It's, a lot of times when Sean and Richard are filming, there are some scenes where they're editing, and so we're getting like looks at Sean and Richard, and then there's stuff that's happening that they didn't cover. So we're getting a bit of a mix, but it really all fits within this, like the story that they're building around the documentary.
Yeah. So I'd like to start with, we see a close up of Sean's face. And
Mm-hmm.
Melissa, what's on his face?
You said a goatee and a mustache.
Yes. He
Yeah.
he does he does have the goatee going on. It's not very strong at the bottom,
Mm-hmm.
but I didn't just say it. You you did see it.
I did,
I
yeah,
said
I
it
did see it
multiple
because you were
times.
you were making me see it. Yeah, that
Yes.
that that, that was happening. Yeah.
Yes. And
You're like,
Melissa
Melissa,
proceeded,
acknowledge this, is what you were
yes.
like. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Melissa very kindly said he looks good.
Hey, that's
So
fine.
hey, we know that Melissa's into goatees, for
I
all
don't know if
you
I'm into
wondering.
goatees in general, but like I think
She
it,
appreciates it,
it
I'm
either
sure.
kind of works or it basically doesn't. And I was like, that's fine.
Yeah. Um, Richard, on the other hand, who I had not figured out was the person behind the camera just yet, has a different opinion of Sean's face.
Well, and we should say that this is a new partnership because in the first season when we saw the documentary episode, Sean was going it alone, and now he's hit the big time. He's having conversations with the Independent Film Channel, and he needs an assistant. So Richard is a little bit of everything here.
Yep.
But he certainly has a bigger role, and so when we see Sean in front of the camera, it's Richard behind the camera here.
But we don't know that yet.
Mm-hmm.
We just hear somebody saying, Sean says, "How do I look?" And we just hear some word come out of the ether, which is fat. And Sean's like, no, 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 just back up a little bit. You're not doing it right here, here. Okay. And he turns his head to the side. He's like, all right, how do I look now? And then again, we just hear out of the ether, still fat.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so at that point, I was like, is that Richard? Because
Mm-hmm.
it became very clear that it was Richard. And, um, bad on you. Like, I will call him out for his facial hair choices, but Sean looks good. Sean's a good looking man.
Mhm.
So just Richard, don't you
I
dare.
mean, Fisher, Team Sean now,
I am
basically, is where we
definitely
are.
Team Sean.
Yeah, Team Sean.
Team Sean.
So the one thing I want to say about the structure, not the structure, the technique that they're using here that I think is interesting for us to look at as we go through is that in order to film an episode like this, there are unions, right? So like people who are supposed to be operating the camera, they have to be the ones operating the camera. People who are, so like there are roles here that the actors have to pretend they're playing. So for example, we know that in season 1 when they did the documentary episode, Greg Grunberg, who was playing Sean, could not operate the camera when he was supposed to be operating the camera. So there was like somebody operating the camera who's a camera operator, and then Greg Grunberg like faced right next to him saying words because they were trying to pick up that audio as if he were behind the camera. So like in season 1 when they did this, they didn't necessarily go into things that were like that complex for that relationship. It was like, okay, Sean's behind the camera and he's sort of there. But in this one, they actually do some things that I was like, I wonder how I wonder how they got that footage. Like I wonder who was it must have been fairly complicated because we see like in a lot of scenes, for example, we'll see Richard holding a boom mic and there was probably another boom operator holding a boom over him, so I would love as we're looking through this because we're going to get so many scenes where they're filming the documentary, like just asking ourselves like what did it actually look like behind the scenes, like how many humans were involved in like it must have been like a triple self-portrait or like a
Yeah.
reflection in a reflection in a reflection. Like, I was getting a lot of joy out of looking at it that way, but I think it would be fun if we put our heads together as we go through this.
That
So
had not occurred to me.
my assumption here is that for this opening shot, we've got Sean in front of the camera, we've got a camera operator behind the camera, and we've got Richard right next to him, or we've got Rob Benedict right next to him, voicing Richard, and then we see Ben come in. So this isn't too complex, but it's gonna get to many levels as we go through this today.
Yeah, this is definitely getting to like level 2 Inception shots.
Yeah, so cool. I can't wait to look at that stuff because I've never had to think about this.
That would be really cool to see some like some pictures.
It would
just
be.
some stills of like this episode.
It would be. I wonder if anybody ever took stuff like that behind the scenes. I'd be so fascinated to see like the layers of it.
So again, we just have to reach out to you guys. If anybody, I mean, we'll also do some research, but if anybody finds any pictures of like 3 boom mics just hanging over, Richard over Ben.
So funny. So funny. It's so meta.
Yeah, love it.
But so we do get that intro with Richard and Sean, but Sean gives us a little exposition here. He says he's been talking to some people at the Independent Film Channel, and they were like, "We need scope." Okay, so Sean's getting scope and content here, and he's going back and getting more footage, more continuation of the story that he started. Last year's story was very much about love lives of his friends in college, and so he needs more scope. And who shows up?
Ben.
It's Ben.
I mean, he does live there.
Yeah.
And I mean, what we seem to understand is this is going to be an ongoing project, and this year the theme is what do you want to do with the rest of your life?
And it's like, nope.
And it's like, this is my worst nightmare.
Yeah.
Go away. Just no. And he just says no. And we know Sean. And now Sean is with Richard. And so the two of them together start stalking Ben throughout the apartment. asking if he will do this over and over and over and over again. And they're just like, so you want to do this? No. You want to do this? No. You want to do this? No. You think Felicity wants to do this? No. One of my favorite moments is he actually like gets in the shower and they're still filming him, asking him if he will do this. And he puts his whole face up against
the
like
frosted
opaque,
glass.
the opaque shower glass and goes, no.
His like face is like smushed up. No. Yeah, exactly. that was good. I actually wasn't sure what door he was behind. He was in the shower.
It looked, I mean, I don't know where else you put that.
That makes sense. I was like, why does he have, because it looks like one of those doors that you would have like in an office full of teachers where they'd have like, you know, like the old, not stenciling, but like you'd have like the name of the teacher and then you'd have the frosted glass. It looked like that. And I was like, why would he have that in the apartment? But you're right. It probably was the shower door.
Yeah.
Oh my God. That's creepy. Okay, so Ben doesn't want to do it, but we learned something very important here that sets us up for this episode. Ben, you know, this getting these community service hours done has been really bearing down on him. And since he never committed to a job, he has like, he's like, I have like six jobs right now. And we're going to see a few of those as we go along. And, you know, it is so, it makes me so happy to see Ben.
It's so Ben, because not only is this, I mean, this is kind of the right move for him, right? He's like, I mean, first of all, it's a Ben move. And second of all, it's, I've got 6 jobs in the next 72 hours and then I'm done. But what he's getting is like the experience of 6 whole jobs. Like if you want to figure out what you want to do, right? Don't spend the whole summer interning at like a clinic. No, 6 jobs, 72 hours, you'll figure it out. Maybe not. But this is his way to go about it.
It sort of is. I mean, in future episodes, we're going to see a much more intentional look at him actually finding what he wants to do. This is like a get the hours done. Here's your assortment of things that will get you there. It is hysterical. But they just set it up for him here where it's like, yeah, we're going to show an array of jobs that he is on campus doing. And
he will learn during one of them that he does deeply regret breaking into the pool and will never, ever do it again.
That's on the way. We're getting there. But we're going to close out this teaser with a little Star Trek tribute. So Richard, and which is totally lost on both of us to the extent that I had to actually look up what this was a reference to. I thought maybe Star Trek, but I wasn't prepared to go out on a limb and say that on a podcast until I looked it up. Basically Richard and Sean are just fooling around and now Sean's behind the camera and Richard is in front of it and he's like, wait, put the camera on me. Just shake it back and forth a little bit. So they're like tilting the camera and he's like, I can't do it, Captain. And he's like doing this whole thing where he's pretending he's in like, I don't know what he's pretending he's in because I don't watch Star Trek actually. Like imagine, picture it, Star Trek spaceship going crazy.
Yeah. The only reason that I went through the script, well, at least part of the script, and it says that he was being Captain Kirk. So I do know enough to say he was being the original William Shatner, who I absolutely love in just about everything he's done but Star Trek. I really enjoy like Boston Legal and those Priceline ads. But I have not seen that.
I'm not sure the Priceline ads are like his signature role, but they are, famous.
He's known for it.
Yeah, he's known for it. Well, anyway, so this reference is obviously lost on us. Don't know how much of a crossover audience there was at this time with Felicity and Star Trek fans, but
no idea.
We're getting this. So they're just goofing around, getting some fun footage. And when we come back from the opening credits, we're going to be at Dean and DeLuca. And in my notes, I kind of had to capture like which scenes were documentary style and which ones weren't. This one was.
Yes.
So Javier's being interviewed while he's at Dean and DeLuca.
Well, he's considering it.
He's thinking about it. He's not sure.
Yeah. He's heard that the camera adds 50 pounds. And no, no. And Sean, he reassures him it's only 10.
Mhm.
And Javier's like, oh, okay. I
Just
mean,
10?
10's okay. Like, I give you 10.
It's like the funniest negotiation, right? It's like, okay, well, if it's going to be 10, it's
Yeah.
like the negotiation that works out well for Sean versus one we'll see later that works out very, very poorly.
I don't know if it's so much of a negotiation.
Yeah. I can't wait to get to that scene. Oh my
Yeah.
God, there's so many good scenes here. Oh, well, while the camera's rolling, Felicity comes out of the stockroom with a tray full of pastries.
Yep. That she probably was going to sadly stack somewhere.
Yeah.
But instead, all I have down is the word flees. She
Yeah.
flees
And slams the door in
right
the
in their
camera's
face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do like this episode also, I mean, obviously is going to get pretty meta. It's going to be really it's a wink and a nod episode. So this is a line that Felicity says right after this is one of the first things where they're trying. So she comes out of the stockroom and they're trying to convince her to be interviewed and to continue the story from last season, last year, the last footage they shot. And they're talking about the whole love storyline, and Felicity says, "It's not a storyline, it's my life."
There are a lot of callbacks in this episode in so many ways.
Yeah. I love so many of them too.
Yeah.
A lot of season one references.
Yes. And a lot of decisions being made in the exact same way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or mirrored with other characters.
Right.
As part of the means of trying to convince Felicity to do it, Sean's like, well, Ben agreed. She's like, really?
Yeah. She's like, well, I don't really believe you, but Sean is trying to tap into her empathy here. He's like, look, this is the first real chance like I've ever got at something legit. Like, I need your help here. Like, you're the star. And Ben's doing it. Just flat out lying.
Although I guess at some point Ben must have agreed, because we're going to cut to Ben at job number 1.
Did he agree though?
Well, they're following him.
Yeah, he was very clear in the first scene. He says, I've got 6 jobs, and Sean's like, fantastic. We will follow you at all 6 jobs. And Ben is like, no, you won't. All right. No, you won't. Yeah. And cut to the next scene. He has on a heavy duty hairnet. I mean, the one we've all been waiting.
Flattering about this. It's a coarse weave, and the really funny part here, and the whole thing is funny, but the other funny part is that Richard is now going to be the boom operator. He's going to be holding a boom mic through a bunch of scenes, and he also has to wear a hairnet.
Yes, yes, he does.
My assumption is that Sean is also wearing a hairnet behind the camera. So it's like, it looks silly enough to see Ben wearing it. And then it's like, Richard's just on the side wearing a hairnet too.
He has no problem with that. He has an important job to do. He has to hold up the boom mic. And they have not convinced Ben to do this. I mean, he's standing there in this hairnet, and Sean is still like, okay, well, I lied to Felicity. Let's do that again. Felicity said she'd do it. And
he Ben's makes the mistake of mentioning Greg. And then Ben's like, oh, that'll be good. Lots of statistics. That'll be interesting.
Yeah, he's definitely still not okay about it. But every time, this is something that keeps happening with Ben. Every time Sean wants to come in and like ask him a serious question or like start asking him questions, he always like distracts them and then says like what's up with Felicity, right? He's like, so, when are you doing this with Felicity? Sean's like, I'm doing it with Felicity next. Um, and so this is the moment where Ben finds a retainer in, I'm assuming, the garbage slash on a tray in the cafeteria, and has finally learned his lesson. This is the moment where he has decided, I will never go break into the pool again.
Yeah, just holding this retainer, he's having a real moment.
A moment. And then
Yeah.
he goes off on Greg. He's
He's
just like,
questioning life. Yeah.
this is not, like, not only am I holding this disgusting retainer now, Greg.
Yeah.
So yeah, he just, that's unfortunate.
Yeah. Well, meanwhile, at the health center, so this is going to be uh this scene is not being shot as a documentary, but they're setting up for the documentary. So Richard and Sean are at the health center just getting things prepared to film, which includes the fact that Richard is trying to mic Felicity up.
Yeah, she is.
He's going all the way up the front of her shirt trying to hook up a lav mic.
And she's
like,
what?
Hey.
There is a Richard hand very close to my
Yeah, very close. And he's like, I'm just trying to get the audio. And the thing is, I believe him.
I do too.
It's like I really don't feel like he's having a moment where he's like, oh, I'm almost copping a feel. Like,
no,
Richard's
this is
just doing his
Felicity.
job.
No, and this is Felicity. She has hurt his, like,
Yeah.
soulmate, Noel. Like, he would never cop a feel of this woman.
No.
Never.
This is like the most non-sexual, nearly copping a feel
Yeah.
that we're ever gonna get on this or any show, really.
I mean, I would have expected him to turn around and, like, Purell his hand afterward.
Maybe.
Yeah.
And so Richard and Sean do a thing that we later discover is a bit of a tactic, where the camera's actually running, that nobody is told that Felicity and Greg are sitting on the couch, and Richard and Sean are just bickering, and they leave. They have to go find something, so they leave them unattended.
Lights. They have to get lights, so they're running in and out, trying to set up, and they've got the camera on. They've got the camera there, and they have to set up all these lights so they're properly lighted, which of course involves Richard unplugging the computer, losing all of Greg's files.
Well, but before we get there, so while they're out of the room and it's just Greg and Felicity there, not knowing that they're being recorded, and we don't know that either yet. Greg says to Felicity, "Did you kiss me?" Because they haven't actually talked about that we've seen since the Revolutions episode that we just had. So it's like, "Did you kiss me?" And it's like, "Yeah, I guess I did." And he's like, "I can't stop thinking about it."
Yeah, and even before that happens, we come in and we see Greg, and he's had a haircut, and Melissa had no idea. She was like, "Oh, is this the first time we see he has a haircut?" I'm like, "Oh."
I mean, I knew that he would eventually have a haircut. I couldn't remember if
he had it last episode.
Yeah, I couldn't remember.
No. But we come in, the haircut's good. And here's where Greg already starts to get a little creepy. Like, I wasn't sure where he was going with this. So, and I'm still not sure where he was going with this. Because he says to her, I can't stop thinking about it. I guess I owe you one. What does that mean? He tries to, like, he says something later at the end of the episode that's like, haha, I'm giving you a kiss back. Like, now we're even. But, like, what we're about to see seems to be a long stretch of him potentially paying her back. Maybe.
Yeah, I can already see how the lens that you're looking at this whole episode through when it comes to Greg. I think with Greg, I have and it could absolutely be creepy. And I think this is, how the Me Too stuff happens. But I also think
Yep.
that he he really cares about Felicity. Like, I think that this
Doesn't
is
matter.
him really excited about a budding relationship.
Doesn't matter.
But yeah, from your perspective, I can see that it doesn't matter. To me, this is an actual relationship that's forming. And
It doesn't matter.
yeah,
It's illegal. It's sex in return or a relationship in return for getting money, a job.
mm-hmm.
It's everything about the Me Too movement. It's
Yeah,
everything that's wrong about having like a male boss. And it's it doesn't matter.
yeah. I
Like,
mean, for me, there is context here though, because I think yes, look, I've witnessed many cases of the Me Too movement happening. You know, like I've seen it all, and I think this is not just like a creepy person trying to get in somebody's pants and offering somebody a job. I do think that this is a real relationship. And I think there have been other shows that have tried to get, like in more recent years, they've tried to address this by like, oh, all of a sudden there's HR paperwork we can fill out so that it's acknowledged that we have a relationship. And like, there have been shows that have tried to, I can't remember what the show is that I'm thinking of when I said that. The Bold Type, maybe? Um, where it's like, oh, this would otherwise be creepy and weird, like what we're going to see with the Greg storyline, if you're looking at it that way. Except they then say, oh, well, as long as we all acknowledge it and sign waivers and put this in front of HR, now we're going to be okay with it. Well, they didn't have that stuff to fall back on at this point. So I also feel
yeah,
like,
no, no,
yeah,
no, because he gives her a job that someone else is more qualified for and should have had. Like, it's not like they were in the workplace and she had a job and then they started dating and they had to fill out HR paperwork. He
yeah,
literally gave her a job. And P.S., while he said it had nothing to do with anything else, he held back that form until she agreed to go out with him.
yeah,
So believe what you want about that, but it's like parsing the difference between violent rape and date rape. Like, both are rape. Both, this is Me Too movement, but like, yeah, he's not saying you can't have the job unless you go down on me, but he's still.
no, I'm definitely not getting that from Greg here.
No,
I
no, no, I'm saying
understand that
I'm
there's a
not. Like, he's
legality
not
issue
saying
with
that.
this. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But
But
he is giving her a job in return for the hope of sexual favors slash a relationship.
um I don't see that being the cause and effect here. I really don't. Um,
Then why didn't Jim get the job?
no, I do think that he wants to be around Felicity, and I think the speech that he makes later, although I know we'll get more into it when we actually get there, but I think him saying being excited about seeing you at work makes me better at my own job. I think he really believes that. I think that's a factor. I think I've felt that in my own life when I show up in places where there's somebody that I'm interested in. I'm a better version. I'm trying to be a better version of myself in those places. So I get all that from him. I think I understand, and I'm not trying to sit here and say the Me Too movement doesn't exist or like that is not how I want to come across here. I totally like have witnessed this type of stuff play out, but I also think that from where I'm looking at it, like his intentions here do not feel lined up with some of the worst examples that we've seen of that. And all of it gets lumped together when we use a phrase like Me Too movement. But I think Greg is very interested in Felicity and would be interested in her whether or not she's working at the health center at this point.
Yeah,
And
but my point is what happens when the relationship doesn't work out and he's not the best version of him anymore
oh,
around
I
her?
think that's the same thing for every office relationship ever. And I
Not if
think
it was
some
Jim.
people
Not if it's the person who is most qualified for the job. That's why
see,
you have
that's
an HR
where
department.
the conversation with Pavone gets interesting to me.
And where I do not agree with her.
Yeah, I do agree with her. So I think that I think she's saying, Felicity, take your opportunity because there's going to be a lot of opportunities you don't get for the same reason. And I fully believe that. And I've fully experienced that. So I think that's where it's really important to have that voice coming in to show the different sides of it. Um, I think you and I should probably keep moving through
Yeah.
chronologically because we're going to cover all of this again anyway.
Yeah.
Um, we get to so where we
The
left
point
off in
was
that
he had a
episode.
haircut.
Yeah.
They were talking about a kiss. He said he owed her one. And we all, by the end, know that this is being filmed.
Yeah, yeah. We don't know that yet, but we will. But you can kind of feel that that's probably what's happening here.
I had no idea.
Oh, you didn't? Okay.
Oh,
Well, you'll be told later then. So like they'll catch you up with that. But we when Richard and Sean come back in the room, this is actually like a little piece of a scene that I don't know how many times I've watched this, because anytime I watch it, I'm like, oh, I have to watch it again and again and again. There's just a short sequence of events where Richard is so like they're just so determined to do their jobs that they're just causing wreckage all around. Richard goes to plug in the lights, and the only place to plug it in, I guess, is where the computer's plugged in. So we see a computer fully on, files open. He just rips the plug out,
Yep.
and then just as he goes to do that, Craig goes, wait. And then you hear like the of the computer, and he's like, and Richard's like, what? He's like, never mind. It's done. And then Richard goes to plug in the lights, and you get this look. You're looking straight at Felicity and Greg sitting on the couch, and the brightest lights in the whole world.
So light. It's so bright.
They both just go,
so bright.
And they, like, it's, I don't know how long that sequence takes. 5 seconds. It's so amazing. Richard just doesn't have any clue.
Oh, Richard is fantastic in this. He just goes through and wrecks like people's lives, and for our amusement.
Yeah.
I mean, I do think Richard is like the MVP, although Ben and his facial expressions, I don't know. The two of them are competing for me for MVP of this episode.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna get so that we basically cut from that to like we don't even really see that interview. We cut from that to they're back with Ben.
Yep.
They move so quickly between scenes in this episode.
Ben is still in the cafeteria, and he's starting to get a little fed up, and he realizes Richard is there, and so he's going to give Sean a little, a little taste of his own medicine.
Well, first we're going to get the moment to bring us back to that location where Richard is imitating the slippery when wet sign, wearing his hairnet. And
such a great
then we get the meat of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also great album. Love it.
Oh, okay. Ben is like kind of needling Sean here.
he's annoyed, and he's like, oh, you're gonna put me on blast? All right, well, let's just start talking about you. You know who I think you should interview? Julie.
Yeah, you're not gonna tell her you love her.
Yeah.
Are you?
Right in front of Richard. And then Richard's just like, what? Huh? What? And the expression on Ben's face is priceless. He's just like, yeah, that's right. I can do this to you too.
Yeah.
Take that to the IFC.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we're going to cut from that to another extremely short scene of Javier in a toupee.
Oh, I thought it was just additional hair product,
Could have been, but he doesn't have any of that hair, right?
Yeah, now I'm thinking about it. I'm like, yeah, this has got to be a wig / toupee.
I think it has to be.
Yeah. It's a little Elvis.
It's a little Elvis. Yeah.
A little bit. Yeah.
And I don't know really what they're giving him for questions here, but they want him to talk about Felicity, and he loves her, and she's an Autumn.
Just like him.
Yeah.
It's like they could be sisters.
They could be. And then he gets into this whole, like, tell us about Noel. Like, well, if Noel were gay.
I mean, Samuel, watch out.
Yeah.
Pack your bags. I don't care if it's rent controlled.
Yeah.
Yeah. Noel's a cutie pie. I'm telling you.
That's the deal.
He's cute.
Javier's just going to get a bunch of questions like that as I think about it.
Yeah, he just pretty much talks about every person. He's like, yeah, Felicity, yeah, Noel, yeah, Ben, yeah, Elena.
Julie.
Yeah.
His comments about Julie are just off the wall. But yeah, it's a lot of that with Javier because they don't really have like a major storyline for him to unpack. So he's just going to give his commentary about everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're going to switch over to Noel being a TA. And this is still all documentary style. They're actually in I don't know how they got clearance to be in all of these places. They probably
I
didn't.
doubt they did, yeah.
So, Noel is in front of the room about to administer a test. And Ben's in the room and you can hear Richard be like, good luck, Ben. Good luck, Ben. You got this. And
So much hair product.
so much hair product. But then they're actually going to interview Noel
Yes.
very briefly.
Who kind of says, maybe teaching is what he wants to do.
Mm-hmm.
He never thought about it before, but now he's a TA and this seems to just like blow Sean and Richard's minds. I mean, last year he was an RA.
Mm-hmm.
And this year he's a TA.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
I don't know why that's funny, but they find it hilarious.
Yeah, they do. It's like the mind blown emoji, but back then.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. They really do
laughing.
move very quickly between all these things. So we're going to get from all this, which was basically a series of the documentary style, different interviews or like moments that we're seeing with different characters. And now we're going to switch over to non-documentary.
Felicity? Yes.
Yeah. Just in the health center, just
yeah, Felicity and someone I had to just put a question mark next to because we've never seen this person before.
Yeah, we've never seen them.
Ever.
I think that's a bit of a disadvantage.
Guess is we're not going to see them again.
Nope.
Are we?
Yeah, didn't think so.
I was like, you are a one episode Jim. We find out his name is Jim.
So.
Yeah.
And if we do see him again, it's not because he has a storyline.
Yeah. But he does have a good portion of the hair product budget invested in him.
And he shows up here. So we're at the health center. Felicity's at the desk, I guess, manning the phones. And this guy whose name will later be declared as Jim, but we don't know that yet.
For now, he's question mark guy.
Yeah. He's basically dropping every euphemism about Maureen, who we also have never met. And
yeah.
He's like, have you seen
her?
Yeah. Have you seen Maureen today? Well, we're not going to see her tomorrow.
Her lunch isn't going to be here. And
I'm going to park the car in the parking lot. Like, it was just like, he just goes on a list of like, Maureen is not here anymore. It kind of evoked that Monty Python sketch about like the dead parrot. It was just like, I don't know if you've ever seen that one.
I don't think I've seen that one.
This is a really big stretch now that I'm saying it, but maybe if somebody is actually familiar with it. So basically there's a short skit from Monty Python where some guy goes to return a parrot to a pet store because the parrot is dead and has been since he bought it. And the guy at the pet store is like, no, not dead. And he goes through like an entire like 5 minutes of euphemisms about what the parrot actually is other than dead. Many of them are euphemisms for being dead. And it's like, he's not pining. Like he's pining for the fjords. That's what he's doing. And it was like, what? He's definitely not pining. He's dead. Like, and it's I don't know. So for whatever reason that evoked this for me, but shorter.
Yeah, I thought Maureen potentially had been fired, but it turns out she is neither dead nor fired. She quit. She quit on her own.
Seems like everybody agrees that it was a quit.
Yep. And then Jim makes a terrible mistake. Absolutely horrible. Worst mistake ever. He asks Felicity's fashion advice about a sweater.
Yeah, that's what happens.
She's going to leave you with that.
Well, she told him to take it off. She said she didn't. She's like, not great. Did you
All
agree?
she said was, hmm. That's all she said.
In her very Felicity, don't love it kind of way.
Yeah.
Did you agree with that take?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
The sweater needed to be taken off, and it was. It was immediately taken off.
Yeah.
He removed it from his body. Kind of think of it. Well, okay, never mind. I feel like you'd hear rustling of a mic, but maybe they had a boom operator. Anywho, so we're going back to the documentary style now, and we're gonna go basically.
Well, so before we go there, like I just noticed in Felicity's eyes, she thought about it for a second, was like, I want that job.
Hmm.
She's like, I want that. I want that to be mine.
Well, and it's important to remember too that although it's obviously bearing down on us that Ben has to get his community service hours done, like actually Felicity's in that same place. She's on the verge of being done with her community service hours, which we feel as the episode goes on. But in this moment, they haven't set that up the way they did for Ben. So, um, she's staring down the barrel of not being at the health center anymore. So when she finds out about this, it's like, oh, I could maybe be at the health center still. So it's like, I don't know if she had given any thought to how else, had this not been
She thought,
presented.
well, she thought she could volunteer
Okay, yeah.
because Greg has to disabuse her of that later. But here she's like, not only do I get to stay, I get paid.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's hitting her, but even in that first scene, we don't really know that the stakes are that way for her yet, the way that we do for Ben, because Ben's like on this mission to get these community service hours done, but she's almost there too. And probably is further along than he is because she's been
Probably.
consistently working at the health center this whole time.
However, in 72 hours, he will be done. So,
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Um, so now we go back to the documentary style. Felicity's going to be interviewed in front of the camera. She's like, she tells us she wants a job.
mhm,
She's interested.
yep.
And then Sean and Richard just, this was unfortunate. So Sean's like, well, last year you were straddling art and medicine. She's like,
Mhm.
and you were straddling Noel.
That's a Richard line.
It's a Richard line for sure. Yep, that's
Yep.
the one they give to Richard. Just you gotta chase that guy with like disclaimers and waivers all day. Like I apologize. Like just have him sign here for all the things he says.
No,
Oh my
muzzle.
god,
The answer is muzzle.
that's the other way. Yeah,
Like, or if Megan ball gag, like one or the other.
yeah, it's one of those things. We're going to get to another really short interview with Javier that basically addresses a thing that you and I were talking about on the last episode, Fish.
Yeah, we were just saying this.
Yeah, and they very much fulfilled our needs.
Yeah,
Um,
it was great.
Javier is asked about his thoughts about Ben. And Javier sort of was like, oh, he's this cute, dumb guy. But the twist is that he's not dumb at all.
Hmm.
He's actually pretty smart. And I was just saying this.
Yes.
It's like
Yeah,
just,
we had this whole conversation about it, and he just said it in like 3 seconds.
yeah, I mean, it's like, does the audience know? Because they keep showing us these Ben are dumb moments. And it's like, I was like worried that you or other people in the audience who weren't as set up for it would be believing that. And then here we get Javier being like, hey, audience, Ben's smart. Like,
And he's also funny because then they go right into, interviewing Ben, and he's standing in the admin office, and over his shoulder you see this lovely woman, older woman, sitting and moving very slowly to eat like crackers or something.
yeah, I thought maybe chips. I wasn't sure.
Could be.
Her name is
And
Leonora.
yes.
And apparently they have
And
a lot in common, he says.
we do. Yeah, Ben's like, we are having a great time here. Got my buddy over here. Just man. So now, we get the setup of he's now working in the admin office. Remember
Yeah.
who else was working in the admin office earlier on?
There's so many callbacks
Yeah,
to
yeah,
Felicity. Was that all the pilot episode? Because she has a whole moment. Well, we'll get to it.
yeah. I can't
Um,
remember if it was the pilot episode or not, but
I
it played out
feel like I want
definitely
to
over
say,
2 episodes because then she has to get to the point where she goes and yells at him.
yeah, the way they shot that scene and the way they shot the even the way
Just
those two
sneaking
actors
in.
acted,
Yeah.
um, was very very similar. But yeah, he's right back there in the admissions office doing the job that Felicity was doing, where he's handling classified student files.
Hmm.
And yeah, I think we're although they use it in a different way, I think that we're absolutely meant to call back to that. Um,
Yes.
and
And
then,
then we have the first time of many that Sean has decided that Richard no longer deserves the name Richard. And so he's decided to just start calling him Dick. And for the rest of the episode, you just hear Dick, Dick.
I don't know if
And
that continues.
but he's
We're
trying
gonna
to
have
hold
to
the boom up,
listen.
and Sean many times calls him Dick, at least in this episode.
Mm.
And Richard's just like, you really hate that guy, Greg.
Yeah, well, he asks Ben point blank the question Ben hates. What do you want to do with the rest of your life?
Right. And
So,
then, of course, it's not, Ben does not have to distract them this time.
mhm.
Dick will do it for him.
Yeah, because his arms are getting tired, and he's
Hmm.
been trying to hold just the the look. I feel like this is something that an artist has to draw. Just this
Yeah.
like Richard holding the boom mic with like sort of the beach is over there sort of pose, except it's with a boom mic. And he's like chewing gum and scrawny, and he like, but he's too weak to hold it up all this time. So the boom starts lowering directly in front of Ben's face.
Like very quickly. And Richard has no problem with this. And he's just like, look, I'm not Superman here.
Ugh.
And Sean's just like, look, Dick.
Yeah. Yeah, he's, you gotta, who's only working with so much of a skill set here, but,
Yeah.
but,
But they had a large boom and it was covered by one of those like feathery looking things.
yeah,
So it was like actually Ben is standing there and it kind of looks like a gray feather duster is coming down on his head,
yeah, it
which
covers
I
his whole
enjoyed.
face.
Whole face.
It's perfectly set up. And so again, like there was probably a boom operator holding a boom over Richard and Ben
Yep.
for the whole
And
thing.
Sean.
And Sean probably, I wonder where they put
Because
that.
Richard was off to the side. So, like,
Mm-hmm.
unless they were doing one in between Richard and Ben, then they would have had to have a third one on Sean.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's amazing.
yeah.
It's just, yeah, just chef's kiss. So, one thing that comes out here that's an unfortunate seed that got planted was,
Yeah.
as we're seeing yet again how much Ben hates Greg, was it Sean who makes the offhanded comment about, well, you could
Yes.
just change his GPA because you got this access, right? So,
I mean,
mm,
first Ben makes the astute observation that the world does not operate correctly if he's the one who has access to your confidential information.
yeah.
And yes, then Sean is like, I mean, you hate that Greg guy, so just change his GPA. It'll make you feel better. And you see Ben go, hmm.
It's
Hmm.
another situation in this episode where a character hears something and it was like, interesting.
There's
I'm
some
thinking about
temptation.
this.
It's probably
Yeah.
not going to change his GPA, but it's going to lead to something.
Yeah. Um, did did you say earlier that Pavone had mentioned to him, to Ben, that something about Greg's story? Does Ben in
Um,
this moment have any reason at all to believe that Greg has a checkered past?
she mentions it. Does she mention it to Felicity or Ben?
Hmm.
I mean, Greg definitely mentions it to Felicity.
Felicity for sure knows, but I'm wondering in this
I
moment.
think Pavone mentions it to Ben.
Yeah, could be. I feel like you had said that at one point. I don't remember hearing those lines, but in this moment, Ben is getting this idea, maybe that he's thinking already about possibly checking into Greg's files, but I don't know in this moment whether or not he thinks he might find anything. Um, so if he knows that Greg has had like something seedy happen in the past, then it's not that it's different, but it's like he knows, okay, I'm going to find out what it is versus like the Hail Mary of like, I'm going to check and see if there's
Yeah, I
anything.
don't think it was mentioned that it was like a seedy past. I think it was just, I think Pavone said something like, Greg's been through a lot.
Okay. Well, maybe Men is like thinking like, oh, there's a possibility I could find something here. Um, that's more than just an offhanded chance. So, so we are going to head from this into a non-documentary style scene at the health center. And this is where Felicity is going to make her pitch to Greg. She wants to take Maureen's place.
Yeah, but she's very clear that she does not want the job if it involves favoritism.
Mm-hmm.
And Greg is like, why would there be favoritism? And Felicity's like, come on. And he says, okay, you're not wasting your time. There will be no favoritism, you know?
Mm-hmm. But
Let's,
she does rattle off a whole. I didn't note everything that she said that she had done, but she notes like a whole. She basically verbally gives him her resume
yeah,
to start with. She'll probably officially give it to him later, but there are quite a
doubt
few
it.
things on it. She had volunteered at the Stanford clinic.
She worked with her dad for like 2 summers.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Was there stuff she had?
she's been working there and she knows Greg's work style.
Yeah. And other
Yeah.
than the fact that she completely disrupted the health center for 2 days very recently, like maybe
Hmm.
a week ago,
Hmm.
she's like, yeah, I basically know how you work. I've been shadowing you for the job that I've been doing. Um, so she does have relevant experience, but I don't know how much. Like I don't know. I don't really know. Like to me, so this is a problem with me not really knowing what the health center roles would be. Like when you say Greg's assistant, to me that sounds like an admin role. Like it sounds like a scheduling files, like stuff that doesn't really have.
They don't have a lot of staff. My guess is the word assistant means is everything that needs to get done that
Like
Greg or a doctor can't do.
fully shadowing him,
Yeah, I
short
mean,
of seeing patients.
it's
Yeah,
gonna be running the volunteers, it's gonna be running the comm serves, it's gonna be mopping out the bathroom if that's what
yeah,
you need. Like
yeah. That makes sense.
it's gonna be the admin stuff too.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
But it's going to be
but
sort of an all hands on deck thing. Okay, that
yeah,
makes
that's
sense.
that's my guess.
Okay. So so she's hardcore pitching. They have this conversation. Greg is like, I wondered if you'd want to stay on after your community service ended, because that's probably been a question mark for him. She's been there as a punishment.
Yeah, here's the thing, Greg. If you'd been wondering about that and you did like her, maybe don't bring in Doug yet.
Yeah, that is a problem with this.
Uh-huh.
Maybe have that conversation first. Yeah, that would have, well, it wouldn't be conflict in TV if they did that, right? We need to have that. Doug was funny.
Doug was funny.
Thank goodness for Doug. But
Yeah.
yeah, that could have been a way to avoid a lot of this where that position was preserved.
Yeah, and
We
Doug
don't really
doesn't
know Doug's
seem,
story, but
well, the thing is, Doug does not seem to know anything about this job.
yeah, Doug doesn't know Doug's story either, to be fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Um, so so there's that. Um, so when they leave this conversation, Felicity says, please officially consider me. And so it is official.
but not if it's going to be with favoritism.
Sure.
Like she's doing a hard pitch, but not really.
Mm.
It's not the hardest pitch. It's like
No,
I
it was a
want
pretty
it.
hard pitch. She went in, she said, which it was the hard sell. It was, here's what I want. She asked for it. She
Yeah, but
made
she
several
only
cases of what she
wants it.
wanted.
She only wants it under certain conditions. That's the
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah. But that was still a hard sell.
Yeah, it
Even
was
if
a
it was
hard
conditional.
sell, but it wasn't the hardest sell because she gave it conditions. It's like, I'm really great, but if this is true, don't hire me. So for
Yeah.
me, I don't consider that the the
No, I
hardest
still look at it
sell.
as a hard sell because I think a soft sell is like, hey, look at all these things I've done without ever actually saying you want the job. So I think when you make a hard ask like that, that's a hard sell. She just put a condition on it.
Yeah.
Um, we're gonna stay non-documentary style here for a moment. So, oh boy.
Mhm.
We are going to get kind of, this is a wordless scene, right? Where we're just seeing Ben checking student files and basically
Mhm.
looking at Greg's file. We don't know what file he's looking at, but he's looking at Greg's
We
file.
know what file he's looking at.
Yeah, they don't show us the file, but it's very clear. Like
Yeah.
he's looking at Greg's file. And this scene, in season one, this is the one that Fish and I are thinking about when Felicity checks this Ben student file and reads the whole thing that he had written in his application essay about his brother who he didn't actually have. And when we see that scene, it's the same look. We're seeing almost the same exact camera angle. Felicity's reading it. She's like feeling all like her eyes are going wide. I think she puts her hand over her heart. In this one, Ben's reading it. His eyes kind of like focus in, and then he puts his hand over his mouth and in surprise. It was like, oh, they really paralleled those scenes.
Yeah. I mean, they both like had one drawer open and the file open on top of it. I think the big difference was Ben's scene was at night and Felicity's was
Mm,
during the day.
yeah,
So it really felt like he was creeping in there.
try not to be caught.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this doesn't happen by accident. There's more than one way to set up a camera, and I think the fact that they're really alluding to this, the way they've shot this is, I think there's a reason why Fish and I immediately, independently of each other, were like, oh yeah, season one.
Yeah, because it's the exact same thing.
Yeah, but it's Ben doing it this time, right? So it's
Yeah.
like, once again, in a recent episode where I was like, Fish, could you have imagined that,
Yeah, I know.
when you saw all the stuff happening in the pilot episode, that we'd be seeing all of this mirrored from like, we'd be seeing this with Ben. And it's like, wow, they're really going all the way there.
You know what I bet Ben isn't gonna do?
But
Try to rewrite one of Felicity's papers.
that is unlikely at this stage in the game. Yeah, yeah. Can you imagine from this point forward, we just do the whole season one again, but with the reverse? That would have been a bad idea, but fun to think about.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
he's gonna do the Ben version of that.
yeah. And Felicity gets somebody who approaches her with a bag of dead rabbits at her dorm room and strips down like just some hot guy, like maybe Berkey.
Ooh,
Berkey.
Berkey. Yeah, yeah, definitely would be Berkey.
I This writes itself, guys.
I
Maybe fan
mean,
fiction this up a little bit.
I mean, we keep talking about fan fiction, and like, if no one else is going to jump on this in the like 5 minutes I have free between now and like 2050, I might just jot something down.
I mean, I think we've already got some good ideas going here.
Oh
Okay.
yeah,
Okay. Very
yeah.
good. Um,
I really want Berkey to be wearing like roughly the same outfit that Nicole was wearing. Like it
like a gray
it
dress.
definitely it doesn't have to be a dress, but it's definitely got to have a zipper for like easy access, and then
Mhm.
like those the
It would be a
pull-off pants.
onesie.
It could be it could be a rabbit onesie because it was
Oh
this is so wrong.
no.
So wrong. No, no,
Um,
no. It's definitely because her dress thing was like easy access.
yeah.
And so for him, I feel like he needs a hoodie that just zips down the front and then like rip off stripper pants
Yeah.
to have the same effect.
Listeners, you're either still with us or you're not.
And for
That's
any of you thinking, well, where did he put the dead rabbits? You're on our page. Like, yeah.
yeah, that's the thing. That's
If
the
you're not
thing.
thinking that, just skip this part and try to get back on track.
Oh, let's do that
So
for them.
we
Let's
are now
yeah. So
we're now going to do that version. This is what I consider to be the writing of Ben's paper version
mm,
of Ben, right? Because Felicity was trying to protect Ben.
that's true.
And Ben is now going to come in and do what he can to try to protect Felicity. And he is going
That's
to
an
consult
interesting,
with Noel.
yeah. That is kind of an interesting way to look at that. So yeah, I see where you're going with that. So this is still non-documentary. This is a private conversation between Ben and Noel after the test has been taken, still in that same classroom. And Ben wants to talk with Noel about Greg and Felicity. So when the end Felicity happens, Noel's ears certainly perk up.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, "Don't you? Is there something kind of funny about him?" He was like, "Greg." Ben's like, "Well, I just found out something kind of messed up about him. He got busted for cocaine possession."
Yeah, I mean, first Ben comes in and is like, "What do you know about Greg?" And Noel's
Mm-hmm.
like, "He seems nice. He helped me and Ruby." And then Ben goes in with the, "What about Felicity? Like, are they dating?" And
This
then
hadn't
all
been
of a
on Noel's
sudden,
radar, I don't
yeah,
think.
not at all. And this seemed very weird to me. Like the two of them, man, I would be so pissed if like two of my exes are sitting around chatting about like the whether it's okay for me to be dating the new guy.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is why I don't stay friends with my exes.
Yeah, yeah.
um
I mean, there's yeah, Ben's crossing all kinds of lines for sure.
and so is, I mean, Noel's not helping.
No, he's not. I don't. This wasn't on his radar before Ben had this conversation, but once it's on his radar, he's like, "Ooh,
Yeah.
don't love this."
Yeah. So two
When
years ago,
mhm,
uh so we know the time frame. 2
mhm.
years. Greg got busted for cocaine possession.
And has
Little of
Greg
that.
been working at the health center for about a year? Is that what
It's
we've
got to
heard?
be less than 2 years. And I'm really surprised because, look, you get busted, you get busted for cocaine. It takes what? At least 3 months of rehab, 3, 4 months.
Okay.
And then for anyone to consider you for a position where there are any type of controlled substances, um, usually the requirement is 5 years of sobriety.
Oh,
So 4 years is like a maybe, but like 2 years is not. I mean, clearly they had to truncate this for, everyone being roughly the same age.
yeah.
But just for the record, if you get busted for cocaine possession do not expect to get a job in the government or with any kind of clearance or in the healthcare field for like 4 to 5 years.
Yeah, because I think you could sit here and say, okay, well, maybe he took a year off for me. Like you could say that, like maybe that's why he seems to be older, why we thought he's older, but they've given us some really fixed timelines here. If
Hmm.
Ben said in this scene that that this happened 2 years ago, and
Hmm.
I'm pretty sure we learned at one point that Greg's been there for a year. Like I
Could
think
be.
Jim's been at the health center longer than Greg has.
I mean, I could understand why Jim was so pissed then.
Yeah. I think he has to be because I think Jim said 2 years that he's been there.
Yep.
So so what you're saying is that's not even a thing. Greg
No,
wouldn't have his position.
no. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a free clinic, but at the same time, the
It's
university has got to
university
have some
funded.
sort of protocols,
Yeah.
and there are controlled substances available.
Yeah. This is university
So,
funded. So they're not going to mess around with the hiring. Like
yeah,
and
I
there was going
don't,
to be a background check.
yes. And it's
So
in his student file.
yeah. Yeah.
So, and also, so what, is he an undergrad? Like, he's applying for med school, but somehow Ben can change his GPA?
He's going to run in a hot minute. He's going to run for student office, the same one that Felicity's going to run for. And I spoiled that
Oh,
for you, but like they're
yeah.
both going to run for student office. So I just spoiled you hard on
Wow.
that.
Yeah,
So,
that
and I'm
happens.
just saying this in the context of like,
Huh.
who is Greg? Like, this is where
Yeah.
I think, because one, right, like I think the very first episode that we saw him in, we were like, oh, this is a problem. Like in something that they said. I
Yeah.
think that Greg's background is a little amorphous. It's
Yeah.
like they give us these details and they don't line up. And it's like, just look the other way.
Okay.
Don't worry. Like,
So,
I think that's what they're asking us to do because I think this is one of the cases where, like, you've got these different writers who are like the writer's room is breaking story, but you've got these different writers who are spearheading an episode and then these different directors who are coming in. And you get a character like Greg, who I think he's still fulfilling his function, even if his backstory is really sloppy. Like
yeah.
he's still riling up Greg. He's still attracting Felicity's interest. He still basically brought us the whole health center location, which so many of our main characters have now had something to do in. So it's like if the details are sloppy, he's still doing his job as a character. But boy, the details are sloppy.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it is this 2 year time frame because if
Mm-hmm.
they had made this more like 4 or 5 years, be, because then when goes to Felicity, he's like, I've been clean for years. It's like, if you got busted 2 years ago and then you went to rehab, like you have not been clean for years yet. Like you've been
Yeah.
clean for a year, like maybe close to 2 years, but I mean, maybe he got busted like exactly 2 years ago and like had his last key bump the day before. But
Mm-hmm.
like you don't go in and say, like, I've been clean for years. And
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's something we are going to probably have to I mean, I think we might potentially find more things like this as we
yeah.
keep going with him. And I think it was like they got the broad strokes the way they wanted them, and then
I mean, I think this tells us more about Nolan Ben
yeah.
than it really does about Greg
Well,
because
so yeah, if we go back to where Ben and Noel are here, Ben's like, should I tell Felicity about everything that we've just discussed?
and Noel's like, she's an adult. We should stay out of it. Good job, Noel. And then Ben comes in with, yeah, but if they get together, then we have to tell, like, I have to tell her then. And Noel kind of doesn't comment on that. I mean, Ben does go, yeah, I guess she's an adult, but.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just sitting here like, I'm going to slap you both.
Yeah. I guess Noel initially saying, like, no, we probably should stay out of it lines up with how the
None of
advice he
your
gave to
business.
Felicity around remember when Felicity saw Blair cheating
Mm.
And Noel was like, just some that stuff sometimes comes out on its own. Like maybe don't say anything about it.
Also, none of your business.
Mm-hmm.
None of your freaking business.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So okay. Well, and then Noel's like, yeah, I knew there was something about that guy I didn't like. And it's like, tell me about it. And then
Best scene.
um I'm not going to ding the episode for this because I liked how this was making fun of itself.
Oh, okay.
So we're going to get another document. This is a documentary style moment where we see Felicity hold the tape recorder up to her mouth and she goes, "Dear Sally." And I was like, "Oh," and then I remembered what this was and was like, "Okay, it's fine, it's fine." And then she's like, "I can't do this." And she stops the tape and she's because they wanted to get her leaving the tape to Sally. And she's like, this isn't it.
Which she's clearly still doing. Per the last, wait, did she do it the last episode or the one
No,
before?
she didn't do it the last episode.
Okay, so like she did it 2 episodes ago. So let's not pretend this is like out of the realm of possibility.
But boy, did they seem to understand that this is like, how many times do you have to make fun of your own device before you just stop doing the device? I don't know.
I mean, I think we're going on like 5 or 6 now.
Yeah. But then we get to a really fun scene where this is not documentary style anymore. And it's Sean and Richard and Megan.
And Megan looks fantastic.
Oh.
She has smooths her hair. She's got ponytails in, which really do not work for anybody. Okay. But they're working on her. She's got the like, low cut shirt showing off, I don't know, this like black and white zebra print bra thing going on with her jewelry. She's looking good. She is looking good there.
Mm-hmm,
and Sean, I think, is noticing.
Okay. And Sean is hoping that Megan will give Richard and Sean a tour of the dorm.
Felicity is hoping that she can run out of the room and leave this to Megan.
Yeah. Yeah. So Megan's game, but on one condition. She's expecting payment for this. So she's like, how much are you willing to pay me? And Sean's like, about 50. She's like, 75. And now he thinks this is a negotiation. So Sean keeps like, he's like 60, 65. She's like 75, 75, 75. And so finally he's like, deal. And she goes,
Richard is about to step in, right?
He looks really uncomfortable with this whole thing. He's like, this should be a free tour.
Yes. And Sean pulls him back and is like, deal.
And then she goes, 90. And Richard, I love this, scene stealer. He looks so scared of Megan. And he goes, you just said 75. And she's like, well, I went 90. And he just like, he knows he's pushing his luck and he just like eats all of his words. You can see him do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
so good.
Here's the thing. I liked Richard in this, but I was really distracted by the like, competitive Sean the businessman coming in, definitely feeling the sexual tension ramping up. At least on Sean's part.
Okay.
I don't think Megan cares.
Okay.
Because then Sean's gonna, give his parting shot. Do you take Amex? Well, do ya?
This was so good. Those three,
oh my goodness,
had so much chemistry here. Like,
such a great moment.
I loved it.
I was gonna jinx you owe me a Coke again, but I knew that you'd just be like, another one. In like season 1 in the cafeteria, didn't like Ben and Felicity do a jinx you owe me a Coke and he like walked over and bought her a Coke? Did I just make that up?
I think you made that up.
Man,
That
I don't
whole
know why.
thing was just happened in your
Completely
head.
made up.
Yeah.
It was a
Yep.
dream I had.
Okay.
Okay, done.
Okay. I mean, Ben gets a payday from a vending machine, and Noel's like, I never saw you as a payday kind of guy, or I never thought
Hmm.
of you as payday kind of guy. And Ben's like, you thought of me?
I
That's about as
was like,
far as it gets, I think.
no. Yeah, but this was in like the cafeteria. I don't know.
Hmm.
Maybe it's another show I'm thinking of. It must be. I don't know. Or I dreamed it. Anyway,
You could have dreamed
back to
it.
Javier.
Fish, let's not put like discount the possibility that we've dreamed entire podcasts at this point.
And additional scenes
Yeah.
as we want them to be.
Yeah.
Um,
Well,
yeah.
okay, we're gonna go back to the documentary style here. We're gonna get okay, we're gonna get Javier commenting about Elena.
Hmm.
Elena's sassy. She doesn't wear brasiers.
Nope.
This is the second time. So in the
Yes.
last episode,
Yep.
Elena
Yep.
herself was given dialogue about when they
Felicity.
were all sitting on the floor in the health center talking about protests, and this
Burning
doesn't
your
feel like a
bra.
protest, and
Yeah.
like burning your bra. And Elena says to burn a bra, you have to wear a bra.
To which I thought that was kind of a dig at Felicity because
Yeah,
we had noticed in multiple episodes before that she kind of had her nips out. Um,
happens with Elena too, quite a lot.
I hadn't noticed, but like after she mentioned it, I was like, and you had mentioned it, I was like, oh yeah, good, good point. Nobody in this show wears a bra.
Even to the point where in the Thanksgiving episode from season one, when her dad comes to the dorm and she's like, definitely like her nipples are for sure hard, and she's got like a very thin shirt, and it's like, hello dad. It's like I just sometimes you gotta be
Cover that up.
careful about this stuff.
I mean, the problem is that their entire brassiere budget went to hair gel because
Yeah,
that's what was more important in the 90s.
I really wonder why this is a thing. Like,
Oh,
what's
this happens in all, I mean, you watch Friends and it's like there's no way not to see nipples everywhere.
it's
They're
so
everywhere.
unnecessary so much of the time. Like, I can
Yes.
understand if you have a shirt that's cut in a way that's you're not
No,
if you're
it's
supposed to wear
definitely
like a
done on
strapless or no
purpose.
bra.
No,
Yeah.
it's done on purpose.
Yeah.
Because like um
Who needs
you see
this?
Jennifer Aniston's like nips all the time and like that girl has to wear a bra.
Yeah. What
Like it's just a thing.
And the thing is, like with this show, I imagine if I had to guess, there would be a much higher percentage of female viewership for this show.
And the men who are watching it probably, I don't know, it for me, and maybe I'm just wrong about this, like many of the scenes do not feel sexual.
Yeah, it's
So
just
like
I don't really like it that to me feels like a gross network thing. Like it's not necessary, and it it just feels like a choice.
this is why we love Shondaland.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, but they're calling it out now. In two episodes now, they've called this out.
Yes.
I don't know if that's going to change anything, but we'll.
Probably not.
They're probably saying we're actively not going to do this. But
Mm.
yeah, it's disturbing. But so we're gonna go back. So we're still documentary style. We're gonna go to Tracy and Elena. One of a
Hmm.
couple scenes that they're gonna get together here. Um,
All great.
This one, and they're all a little different too. So this one, they all give you a different thing that's important. So this one, they're full on competitive, where it's like Sean's asking, like, when did you know you wanted to be a doctor? And Elena's like, when I was 6, and Tracy's like 5.
Like Elena goes on and on about like, I was 6 and da da da. And yeah, Tracy just cuts in. But that's hilarious. And yet not really what I took away from this scene.
Yeah. What did you take
Uh,
away from this scene?
Clearly, McGrath has a reputation.
Yeah.
And when Elena very innocently, perhaps thinking he doesn't have a reputation, mentions, oh yeah, I helped out a professor. Maybe you've heard of him, Dr. McGrath. And
Tracy's
Tracy
like,
goes, yeah, yeah.
squeak.
Tracy's like, oh, McGrath, you mean the Prince of Darkness?
Yeah. This is a setup. Um,
Oh,
not that we're not seeing the Prince of Darkness return, but
thank goodness.
the I think
It's
it's
going to
worth
cause
noting
tension.
that like Elena, we know what Elena's story is with him, with McGrath, and Tracy is like, guy's a creep.
Yeah,
Like,
do not like him.
yeah, like I think it's been a while for us since we thought about McGrath, thank goodness.
Hmm.
But it's absolutely worth noting that Tracy has an immediate, strong reaction.
Yes, he's probably attempted to be around him and had like large wafts of old man smell, and he just can't deal. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, you'll get maybe a bit of context, but I think it's just this, it's more about the dynamic between Tracy and Elena and like just
Mhm.
seeing like, even just like Tracy reacting that way, how does that make Elena feel? Like
Mhm.
there's levels of it, there are layers of it, I would say.
Well, he's definitely clocked that he's a creep. My question is, and I really can't tell from this scene whether he is thinking any worse of Elena.
He doesn't have any context for Elena,
He knows. It
except for the
seems
thing
like he
she
knows.
just said.
Right.
He
Yeah.
doesn't.
That's what I'm
He
saying. I
doesn't.
don't know if he now thinks something about Elena given
Um,
this.
I don't
I
think
mean,
so. I
later he goes
think,
on to say very nice things about her, so
yeah,
I'm hoping not.
I don't think that he's connecting any more than the face value of the thing that she just said that she had worked with him. I think that he
Oh.
separately thinks McGrath is a creep. And I don't think in this moment he has put anything together about her and McGrath or even has a
Oh.
hint of it.
I did not think that at all. I thought the
Mm.
second she said McGrath, he was like, oh, that happened.
I think I don't think that that's what's happening in his head in this moment.
You don't think or you know?
Uh, in the future, he's gonna react like he's never thought about it before.
Hmm. Okay.
So, I mean, I don't even know to what extent he knows why he thinks of McGrath as the Prince of Darkness. Sometimes there are people that you're like, oh, that part, like steer real clear of this person, and you have an instinct about it, but you may not know the details. For
Mm.
us, we know that Elena had this relationship with McGrath, but before that, the only person that we know about having a relationship
Was
with him
his
was a
last
grad
TA
student.
or a last grad student? Yeah, it seems like it's a pattern.
It's a pattern, but there's a pretty big age gap from the last person we've met. So
Right.
I don't know how
Often.
common knowledge this behavior is with current students,
Hmm.
like maybe faculty, but I wonder if I think Tracy's reading a vibe, but I don't know if he knows why he's reading it.
Okay.
So we don't really get that information here, but I think,
Yeah, we're interrupted big time here
yeah,
because Noel's life is over.
Noel storms into their apartment, into Noel and Elena's apartment, panicked.
Just running all over,
A
just
panic that's going to
knocking in.
continue. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Knocking into Richard, like looking for the blue books from the test. Remember the test?
Mm-hmm.
Yep, they're gone.
Yep, those are gone.
And his life is over.
He just goes and slams the door of his room.
Yeah.
Poor Noel.
I mean, does a parting shot at Elena, who just, tried to help out and was like, "Did you check your backpack?"
Yeah. He's like,
Like,
thanks, genius.
no.
Oh my gosh.
Slams the door in her face.
He is not okay right now. And he is going
No,
to tear apart anybody in his way.
no.
I think Elena
Anybody,
knows that.
anyone, any room, anything.
Yeah. Well, now we're going to go back to a non-documentary style scene couple. This one you probably hate.
Yes.
So this is at the health center, and it's a Greg and Felicity scene. A lot of the Greg and Felicity stuff are not documentary.
Well, yeah, because they're hiding it.
Yeah, that's true. I guess they do some stuff with them documentary, but all the really important conversations happen off of
There's some
Sean's camera.
documentary stuff when they decide to stalk them.
Yeah, they have that, and they is that the only thing? Because then they have the moment where they're
And the
setting
hidden
up.
camera.
Yeah. Oh, that's right, the hidden camera. Yep. Okay. But most
Yeah,
of the content we see from them is not on Sean's camera.
on purpose.
Yeah. Okay,
Or that
Fish,
they know
take it
about.
away. I'm sure you're gonna want to rip into this scene. Go for it.
I mean, it's not the worst scene. There
Okay.
are very bad scenes here, but Greg has come over. He is asking Felicity quickly in the hallway, because he's on his way to a meeting, a
Mm-hmm.
staff meeting, whether she would like to have dinner.
Mm.
And if she says yes, then he will be able to make it through the staff meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and she says, you did mention before that you had this massively messed up past and you should not be legally allowed to date anyone. And he says, yep, I said that.
Fish,
I'm going to ask you out anyway.
do you? Let's stop down on that for a second. What do you think Felicity thinks about the the mystery of that? Like, do you think she cares? Do you think like what do you
I think
she's saying it here. She's calling back to it, but where do you think that's coming from for her?
my guess is she thinks it either has to do with his parents or past relationships.
Okay.
I don't think it passed through her mind at all that it was a cocaine addiction,
Mm.
and all the things that maybe led to that cocaine addiction. I don't know what they are. They very well could have been parents and past relationships, but I don't think that's what she was thinking. And she's
Um,
probably thinking to herself, yeah, I have issues too.
I'm wonder if I should save this question for later, but I kind of don't want to because we're going to go so off the grid with so when they have the conversation later where Greg actually tells her because he figures Ben's about to tell her what Ben's learned. Greg tells her what has actually happened. And she, to me, Felicity is sort of like more focused on being pissed at, like, why is Ben potentially the one who would tell me? Like, what it seems like she's really focused on the what is Ben up to here piece. And in a way, it almost overshadows the reveal that he makes to her. And I'm wondering if you took away the way she might have been reacting to Ben getting in her business, do you think she understands what this means for her? Should she understand? Like, should
No.
she be worried about this? Should she not be? Is she putting the right amount of attention on this? Like, what? Um,
I mean, I will say, there I was friends with a group of people in high school, some that went to my school, some that didn't. And uh, actually, four of them were dating. There were like two couples in between them. And, you know, um, our friends from the other schools, like, it was not a great school.
mhm.
Let's just put it that way. And we'd go out with them, we'd go town to town with them. We like went to, I don't know, like a weird haunted house thing. Like we spent a lot of time like in the city.
Mm-hmm.
And like long story short, one of my close friends, the guy she was seeing from this group, um, he OD'd on heroin.
Mm.
And she just had no clue, like zero clue. And I mean, I didn't really either at that point. I mean, I had my own stuff going on, so I had a bit of a shell.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't. And, you know, to date someone with like an active addiction, it was a high school relationship. Like there were issues, but it was more just the shock of it, I guess, afterward. And just given how little she knew and how well I knew her, and then like what I knew from talking to him and his other friends, it was like a world between them.
Yeah.
It was like she had no concept of his life or what this meant. Um, and someone who has already, by the time they are, you know, partway through college, is already 2 years ish into sobriety from a cocaine addiction. I mean, that guy has lived.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we see a lot of his maturity, but he's also, you know, there is risk. Um, I like the fact that, you know, he's been clean for 2 years. I don't I don't think it registers with her what it could mean if he relapsed or what type of support he needs.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like he's been doing it on his own, and so that's a good sign. Usually don't date for the first year. It's been about 2 years, so that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so for me, first of all, had I been in that position, it probably wouldn't have registered to me to be upset because somebody else had an addiction problem.
Mm-hmm.
It would be much more upsetting to know that my friend slash guy I'm kind of maybe still in love with um was going behind my back
Yeah.
and like, you know, she doesn't know that he threatened him, but she knows something
And
happened.
Greg is going to protect that information for Ben. And I know that
Yes.
I'm skipping ahead, but like we'll cover that scene. But I'm looking at this scene a little. I'm looking at this stuff a little differently than I did, because I don't have experience with the drug side of this, but I can say that I an ex of mine had a mental health like a diagnosed mental health disorder, and when I was so, you know, I knew that from the very beginning and didn't place the appropriate weight on that. And it's not to say don't
Mhm.
date somebody who has that, but I should have done more research. Like there should have been a plan. You know, like if you're gonna like pursue that, maybe ask some questions about it, because it's something that obviously, like Greg, has done a lot of work on himself. And what's the work he's done? You know, like become part, like learn a little about that. So I think in this episode, that to me gets completely overshadowed by, and maybe rightly so, the fact that she's like pretty offended that Ben is jumping in here. And fair enough, Ben shouldn't be jumping in here. But the way she's like kind of flippant about the what's your past sort of thing, like when she does eventually find out about it, it's like, well, you know, in the same way that when she found out her dad was taking pills and she looked them up, like
Incorrectly.
She did, but like there's this instinct in her to research, and I think that would be a fair thing to apply to this, or
Yeah,
at least to ask him questions.
I would have assumed that that would have come later.
Yeah, maybe.
Um, like if it's like a, we've been out on one date and then,
Yeah.
I know Ben way better and he's getting involved in this.
Yeah.
If I decide I actually want to date this guy, it's none of Ben's business and I'm going to let him know that. But then, yes, I definitely think there is a moment for reflection in actually moving forward in a relationship with someone where
And
you
knowing
can
what that
start asking
means.
questions. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you
And like
can do
having
some
a,
research and figure out, it's, I think it's, considering they've only been out on one date, like, but they have known each other for a while. Um, I don't know. I'm of two minds here. On the one hand, Greg needs to tell her at some point.
mhm,
He's already said like he shouldn't date, like he's had bad experiences dating because of this. He
mhm,
is clean for 2 years, but like he he needs to tell her soon. So
mhm.
if Ben had not brought this up, like he did need to tell her soon and then probably would be prepared to share more information. And I think she can wait a couple more dates to get that information.
I don't
But
I'm trying to think, I don't think we're ever going to get that with her.
so that, I mean, unless something happens and they decide like not to date, that I find very weird.
It's why I'm bringing it up here because
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember. I don't think that she ever has like the talk like what do you need, or what does this mean, what does this look like, what are you doing, like what do you do to stay on track, what does it look like when you're off track, like I don't we never get that, I don't think, with her and Greg.
I
So the
think
fact
by
that
the
they're introducing
time,
it here is like why I bring it up now, because it's like, would you?
yeah, I mean, I don't know. People from different backgrounds say different things, right? So by the time, you know, when my friend was dating this guy, we were young enough in high school that I would not have expected her to have any idea and ask really any questions until like bad things started happening.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, by sophomore year of college, it all depends on the individual's experience. Like if she's still never had experience with any of this, I don't know why that would change.
Yeah.
But now she's got this stuff with her dad, and like she's not totally asking questions about that. And her dad's got his life back on track-ish and like has a job again and stuff. And I don't know.
You know what this is making
I
me
don't
think
know.
of? This is reminding me of the very first conversation. So that scene from season one where Felicity and Ben are carving pumpkins, and
Hmm.
Ben talks just a little bit about his experience with his dad.
Hmm.
And Felicity admits later, like, I had just no context for that conversation. And we'll see her get more and more context. We've already seen her get more context, but
Hmm.
like in that conversation, she had no clue what to say or what to do, or like, um, and I feel like that's true here.
I feel like it didn't 100% register
Yeah.
like the cocaine part of it. It was more like Ben did what?
Yeah.
Um,
And that's the
and
problem with like, that's why I know I'm getting us off track from where this scene went, but I thought I just wanted to talk about that before we get back into the scene because everybody ignores it. Like
well, but that's the
Felicity ignores
thing.
it. But maybe don't
If
be totally blasé.
Yeah, but if she had experience with any addiction,
Yeah.
personal, family, friends, I think she'd be in a much different place.
Yeah.
And she hears the same line and she goes, okay, I will focus on a different part of this sentence.
Yeah.
But she doesn't have any of that. So the
Yeah.
part of the sentence that she's focused on is what up, Ben?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, not okay.
Yeah.
And then she's gonna have to go back and decide or completely ignore the fact that he's a recovering addict.
Yeah. Well, I've officially totally derailed you and the whole podcast to have this conversation. Well, I'll get us back on track. How about that?
Okay.
So, where I interrupted you, we're at the health center. This is not the documentary part. This is a conversation between Greg and Felicity. He said, "Let's get dinner." She's like, "Didn't you tell me about that massively screwed up past you had?" He's like, "I'm asking you anyway. Take it
Yep.
from here, fish."
And she says yes. And then he proceeds to have this folder sitting next to him. And he's like, look, this has absolutely nothing to do with the fact that you just agreed to go out with me / may have sex with me in the future, but you got the job.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. Well, we'll revisit that.
Yeah, put a pin in that because there's more. Yeah, there's more to come on that one that goes into more detail. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
happens.
Just the timing of it. I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's see. For a moment, we're going to stay non-documentary style, and we're going to go to Epstein Bar, and it's Elena, Julie, and Felicity at a table, and they're cheersing to the new job,
Mm-hmm.
and they're celebrating. But then Ben shows up,
Mm-hmm.
and close tailing him are Sean and Richard,
Yeah.
who start to film this during this scene, right?
Yeah.
So this scene switches midway. It's one of the few scenes that does this from like it's just regular, and then at some point Sean starts taping it.
Yeah. And with everybody there in that room, the only thing I was looking at was Ben's face.
Yeah. They put a lot on Ben's face in this half of the season. Like there's been a lot of long shots of Ben reacting.
Yeah. So we've got, I think it's Julie who says, Felicity's going to be, working at the health center, and Ben's face, he's got kind of a serious face, but he's like still kind of smiling a little bit, and he's like, oh, so you're going to be Greg's assistant, and does that mean you're going to stop working at Dean and DeLuca? And Felicity's like, no, still need the money. And he kind of like drops his head and comes up, and he's still smiling. And in this moment, what I took away from this is Ben is a really good actor. Not Scott Speedman.
Mm-hmm.
Ben.
Mm-hmm.
He's
He's
not giving that much away.
He's kind of like he's doing the obligatory, like congratulations,
Mm-hmm.
and is internally crushed. But on the surface, it's congratulations. It feels like in the moments when he knows people are looking at how he's reacting, he's putting it on and he's like, finding a way to keep up a brave face. And then you kind of get that feeling like the moment the people at the table start turning the conversation to somebody else, we're just going to see Ben with his head hanging down, looking all serious.
I mean, people are watching him, and there's a film crew. So I feel like he's, he doesn't want to be caught out like last time. I think he's just gonna have to keep it on. But
he's reaching a breaking point, though. Like it's just like at a certain point, he's just he'll break in this episode for sure. I mean, but he's still keeping up a good front for her. Um,
Yep.
but boy, is she testing him.
I mean, not on purpose.
Not on purpose, but man, it's like the number of times he's just like, I'm not going to say the thing I'm thinking.
But the
Yeah.
thing I am constantly thinking is Greg is a dick.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to go back to we're staying now in documentary style, and we're at the health center. Felicity's doing the glamorous job of photocopying scabies pamphlets.
I mean, who doesn't want that job?
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Like if
I
you're going to have a
mean,
first day on the job, why would you be
yeah.
doing that? Um, so she meets the new volunteer, Doug.
Hmm.
Doug's getting a
Doug.
tour.
Yeah,
Okay.
Doug didn't seem so bad here.
Yeah.
He seemed nervous, but he goes way downhill later.
Yeah. He doesn't speak very much here. He's just being kind of led around. He doesn't, he's just getting in the introduction. And Greg, in the meantime, is going to use this running into Felicity as an opportunity to set time for a date, which is unfortunately happening on camera,
Yep.
which
Yep.
means a couple people know.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and we've already heard, I think we've heard Sean say, you know, Ben is not going to be happy about this all like earlier, but maybe he doesn't start saying that till later. Um, but yeah, they're going out. It's going to be 8 o'clock,
Mm-hmm.
and Richard's just really sorry about those computer files.
Yeah, don't worry about it, man.
Yeah,
It's over. It's done.
yeah. Felicity does not want them coming on her date with them. And Richard he knows what has to be done.
Mm-hmm. You're tail him.
Yeah. They're gonna have to spy on her.
That's pretty much it.
Yep.
But before they do that, we're going to move to Ben at job number 3, possibly my favorite.
And why? Melissa, please. Why? Tell me why this is your favorite scene.
Well, first of all, okay, so what happens? Well, Ben is working the campus security booth. He's huddled into this tiny little square footage booth
Well,
with
he's outside
Al.
the booth.
Okay, well, he's with Al,
He
the
is with
security
Al.
guard, a man
Yes.
who's aged. He's an older man. And the running joke through the whole rest of the episode is going to be like every time somebody mentions Al, they're like, "Is that guy still alive?" It's like it's been a day, okay, guys, it's been a day. Calm down. Anyway, so Ben is getting the tutorial from Al about how to do this job, which involves you pick up the phone and you say campus security
Do
anytime
you
it
though?
rings.
Is that how you say it?
Or is it campus security?
Mm, Al is
Campus security?
he's very specific
Mm-hmm.
that the word campus must be hit hard. Ben has to do this twice.
Yeah. Campus security.
Yeah, there you
Yeah.
go. Perfect.
So I would like to make this my note from an optimist.
I was really hoping you would. I unfortunately don't think you're going to focus on what I hoped you would focus on, but go for it.
Pride in your job.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, so pride in your job. Hey, who's got more pride than Al? Al has attention to detail. Al wants
Hmm.
to impart that to the young whippersnappers that work with him, who's everybody. Everybody, no matter what age, is a young whippersnapper to Al. And he wants to make sure that they carry on the legacy, that they use the proper intonation when they say
Hmm.
campus security. And he's proud of what he does. And that's what, look, when you work, you spend a lot of your life at work. It might as well be something that you feel proud and motivated to do, where you believe in the output. And Al is a symbol for us all.
Yeah, that's that's your take on this scene, huh?
Well, it's my note from an
Let me
optimist.
let me lay this out
Okay.
for all of you who maybe didn't watch this right before.
Okay.
What we've got is, in fact, a tiny little booth with an octogenarian or older
Mm-hmm.
man. And then leaning into the booth, what we have is Ben in a police uniform with a hat on. He is every bachelorette's dream. He is a man in a uniform, full on police uniform. Ben
I
in a
didn't really think
police
about that.
uniform. He's probably got handcuffs. And what Melissa chose to focus on was the old man.
Yeah, he was so great. Come on, Al. I wonder if Al and Leonora have ever met or gotten together.
Seriously,
Ben could introduce them.
that is what you're thinking about. Al and Leonora sans clothing when you have like the ideal either hot cop or hot stripper in a cop uniform
How cute would that
standing
relationship
there.
be, though? Two octogenarians, one who loves chips, one who loves to say campus security with a very particular intonation. Think about the stories. Think about the joy. Think about the companionship.
Think about the handcuffs.
Okay, well, we watched the same scene. We saw two different things. It's okay.
I
Okay.
mean, you feel nothing when you see Ben
I was
in a
just
police uniform.
cracking up at his facial expressions. I disregarded the attire and looked directly only at his face and watched as he was really like uh doing like it's like campus security, and then I was like, it's better, and Ben's just like, and he just kind of nods, and I just loved it.
Okay. All right. We both loved the scene. I mean, I'm not going to take away from Al. He was hilarious. He just wasn't where I was looking.
Yeah, your
At
focus was in
no
a different place.
point did I look at Al. I heard him, but I was not visually compelled to look in that direction.
I see what's happening. Well, the guy who played Al nailed it. All right. um, bonus points for Al. Al award for best security officer in the whole show. That's it.
Seriously? Ben is right next to him,
Yeah.
being like super hot. You're giving Al the award?
Al gets an award. Al doesn't get a lot of Al's never going to get another. Well, actually, no. Al will get an off-camera opportunity to get another award later.
Oh my God, does Al die?
No,
Oh, good.
no. I just want it to be clear to everybody: Al does not die during the course of the show.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. No Als were harmed.
No Als were harmed in the making of this episode.
All right.
Yes.
I feel better about that later.
So we're gonna see. We're staying documentary style, and we're gonna see Felicity and Greg at dinner because Sean and Richard are spying on them.
Yep.
They're filming them from
They
like
are.
what, across the street through the
Yep.
window of the restaurant.
Yep. Yes. They do not want to be caught.
No, they definitely don't.
No.
And they seem to be getting along. Like, obviously, we are getting no dialogue. We're just seeing body language. But
They look like they're having a great time.
they do. They look like they're
They're
having a fun
laughing.
conversation.
They're like, she's touching him. Like they're leaning in to talk to each other. They're sitting next to each other at the table.
Yeah.
They're having a great time.
And Sean says the thing that you were referring to earlier. He's like, Ben's gonna hate this.
Yeah. And Richard has no idea. He's like, oh, this is great. Greg's laying out on thick. This is going to be fantastic. Wait, why won't Ben like this?
Yeah. Richard is Richard is
He,
being pretty slow on the uptake here, but that's
yeah,
okay.
he still hasn't figured it out, I think, by the end of the episode.
Yeah. And then we're gonna see this is one that I really want to look at from like a how did they do this standpoint. So the we're going to see that they then skip to later in the date where Felicity and Greg are, I guess, is that what the outside of her dorm looks like?
I mean, it could be his place. They're
Okay.
definitely walking home. I
Okay.
would doubt a dorm looks like a
It
townhouse.
doesn't strike me as looking like a dorm entryway, but
No.
they're having what equates to like the good night, like fumbling for the keys, kiss at the doorstep sort of thing.
Yeah.
I don't know whose place they're at, but there's
You know where I think they are? I think they're outside the place where Noel and Ben had all that beer. It's
okay.
just going to be like the leftover set place.
Probably.
Every place where we don't know where it is,
It's
that's
like
where it is.
mysterious where are we now set.
Yeah.
Well, they're having a conversation that looks like a lingering this is probably where they would kiss moment. And
And Carrie Russell has on this absolutely fabulous red leather jacket
ah,
that is just paying for itself.
okay. And they're going to get interrupted because as Carrie's eyes, well, as Felicity's eyes pan around it, she notices some people filming her across the street.
Yeah, a couple
She's
of
like,
people.
Sean, I'm going to kill you. And they're like, oh my God, she saw us. And she runs, she looks both ways, or she looks one way. And then she runs across the street and they start running and they're like it's like the Blair Witch Project and the camera is now down pointed at their feet as they're running away.
Yeah.
Dish would think this was like on set.
I feel this was a body camera moment.
Okay.
I think they rigged them up with body cameras
Okay.
and had them run. Because I don't know how else, like, I can't imagine two other guys running behind them.
Can you imagine like body cameras on the cameraman, Sean and Richard, like piggybacking on the camera guys to make sure their voices get heard? The
Yeah.
number of ways that my brain imagines this happened, it's just glorious.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like this is a body camera moment
Okay.
because
Like they
all
gave them
other
clearance.
things, yeah, just lead to ridiculousness.
Can
I
you
can't imagine.
like the thing I described is really impractical. But unions. Um
Yeah. I feel like, I mean, I've got other things going on in my head. Like, you know how they'll put a camera, like, and a guy sitting behind the camera
mhm,
on some sort of like rail and then like
mhm.
move it forward as the action's happening. And
Yeah.
I could see that having like two little cameras that come off and like are in front of them and being pulled forward. But I just don't think that's practical. I think they just put a body camera on them. And
Fish is thinking simplicity trumps all in this situation because
yeah.
yeah, that's fair.
Because
All right.
again, they do not have a large budget for this. It all went to hair product.
That's very true. It really did. Well, we're
Yeah.
going to get an interview next with Ruby. And does she say she's an art history major?
Yes, she is now an art history major. I thought this was a very interesting interview.
Okay. Talk to me about that.
So, if we remember before from Tsarist Russia and their costumes, she liked art history.
Mhm.
We knew that. But we never really got any backstory on that. And now we're going to get the backstory.
Mm-hmm.
She says that she went with her parents to the Uffizi Gallery in Florence, and she saw a Caravaggio, The Sacrifice of Isaac.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of paints these very important scenes,
Mm-hmm.
very dramatic, very like, does a lot of like torture and just like a lot of like emotion, and the scene he's painted here, which is painted for, a future pope, is the sacrifice of Isaac by
Mm-hmm.
Abraham, um, which is the idea that, Abraham has such faith in God that God tells him to go and sacrifice his son,
Mm-hmm.
who it took forever Abraham lived a while. It took him forever to have this baby. He's done everything he can, and then God comes along and is like, you have to kill your
Mm-hmm.
kid. And so he takes his kid up onto this rock, like up a mountain. He just has a hike with the kid. And then he like grabs him and throws him down on this rock, takes out a knife, and is about to slit his throat.
Mm-hmm.
This is the painting that she's talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And at the very last second, an angel comes down and says, JK, don't kill the kid. You're cool. You can sacrifice that lamb. And this is that second where the angel is like, he's grabbing Abraham's arm. And what you see is Isaac he's a small kid and he's being held down with like his arm twisted behind him and his face in this tortured pose with his father with this giant knife, like right about to slaughter him.
Oh.
And that is what has made her wanting to go into art history. And then she goes on to talk about, again, how she's pregnant and she feels so misunderstood, kind of in the way that many then and many still now probably would not have understood Abraham. And, she's got this meaning behind it. And I'm just having a very hard time removing Ruby's story and all the little things that they have in it from like a religious context. Like, I still don't know who her parents are. I don't know what sign she was looking for. I don't, she's decided not to have an abortion. She's inspired to have this child. She's been inspired by, a very, very intense religious painting that I think relates a lot to her pregnancy and her feeling of meaning. And so I found it to be just this really interesting scene. And I am going to be really interested, hopefully in the next episode or the next couple of episodes, because she says that Noel has convinced her to go to Colorado and to tell her parents. And she throws a little, he's the greatest in there. And I love the piano music over this. But yeah, this scene really got me.
Okay.
Also because I love Caravaggio, and I happen to particularly like, I've been to the Uffizi and seen this, and I just happen to particularly, it struck me, and it has stayed with me.
Well, there's not a lot that I can
paintings
really
to have.
add to this, except that she mentioned, she goes even a step further and says, it inspired me that I want to be a curator. So she, at some point along the way, has identified that for herself, which means she's probably on more of a clear track than most of, if not for being pregnant right now, she'd be on like one of the clearest professional like career tracks of anybody on our show, except maybe Elena and Tracy.
Yeah.
And
Well, and she doesn't want to be an artist, which I think is important, like a curator position. You go to school for that, and
there's a
it's a
specific
solid,
path that you take.
yeah,
It's an involved path. And it
yes.
takes a lot of time. And I would say that being pregnant is going to put a severe timing wrinkle on things. Um, but she's still naming that as like a dream. And she's
I don't think it's
also,
unrealistic. I think she could be pregnant and stay on that track. I mean, it might be like a year or two later, but like it's a track that isn't it's not like being a doctor or an engineer.
but
Like
although it
you
does,
do
I
have
think,
to get an MFA
yeah, I
and
think
you
it
do
does
have
take
to
significant schooling.
absolutely, but it's not something where if you do it a little later, like you're going to lose
Mhm.
like so many years or it's I think it's a very realistic aspiration to have.
Yeah. And it's not a job you hear a lot about. And so to see it in a show like this, I think is really fun. And but yeah, all the things that you said about like the conversation with the parents is upcoming. Noel has obviously behind the scenes been having some conversations with her and helping her work through some of the big decisions that she needs to make, or at least supporting her as a friend in that process. And the question is like, and then she says, like being pregnant has changed me.
Mhm.
And we get about that much, but we are going to then go over to Noel and
Interesting
who's,
question.
yeah, like obviously he's still dealing with the fact that blue books are gone, but Sean throws out a pretty focused question of like, if Ruby weren't pregnant, what would be happening with you 2?
Well, that's not exactly what he says. He
Mm-hmm.
says if she didn't keep the baby,
Mm,
would you still be dating?
mm.
So
Which Noel doesn't. Noel is kind of lost in thought when we exit the scene. He doesn't really give an answer to that.
well, his answer is I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, but it gets the wheels turning a bit, I
Interesting.
guess.
Yeah, it's an interesting question.
Yeah, yeah. So now we're gonna switch back to non-documentary style, and Felicity is on the phone at the health center with Lloyd. Lloyd, you don't need the
Lloyd shows up a
patch.
couple of times. I love Lloyd.
Yeah. Lloyd, you don't need the
Just
patch. It's fine. You don't need the patch because you don't smoke, Lloyd. Um, yeah, thank goodness.
yeah,
I'm glad that we see him sometimes and that we don't see him sometimes. Like
yeah.
I'm happy not to have this be like a thing that you never see, like a Maris in Frasier. Like
Yeah.
I like that we get him sometimes, and sometimes it's just the tease of Lloyd.
I mean,
Um,
there's something about his physicality that
mhm.
adds to his humor that
Mhm.
like once you've seen it, you can then project that onto a conversation.
Yeah, it's like the delivery of this would be I want my patch. I mean, like this very like monotone, like why can't I have my patch anymore, Felicity?
Yeah.
Like sort
Yeah.
of just like, oh Lord, you don't need one is the thing.
And then he'd just say, okay, and hang
Yeah,
up.
yeah, that's pretty much it. We
Yeah.
already know. That's why it works so well. So, but that we're gonna go away from that likeness real quick because Jim is pissed.
Mm. Rightly so. Rightly so. I am on Jim's side.
Yeah, we just met Jim. Where has he been? Like, that's a bit of a problem that I have with this is that like we've never seen Jim. So like,
I
has he really been
understand.
at the health center? I mean,
He's
okay,
been there
yes,
for
he's
2 years.
that's what we're supposed to understand that, yes. But when it comes to the operations of the health center, where has Jim been through the review?
He's been working while everybody else has been like making moon eyes at each other and like messing with Excel even though they don't know how to use it.
I guess so. Kind of wish this wouldn't have been the very first episode I saw him in, to be
Yeah,
honest.
no, I agree.
because it's so hard to believe that he's been integral to the health center operations when integral stuff has been happening at the health center and he's been nowhere to be found. Like he should have been, we should have, even if they didn't give him a speaking role. I know that's not how it works with TV, right? Like I know, like they paid him for this episode. That's it.
Yeah.
But like, especially for like a review, you know, you would think that would be like a day where you'd see the all hands being on deck, even if they didn't give them speaking roles. But so it is a little frustrating for me that like he is presented to us as like so important at the health center. And then,
Well, they don't say he's like so important, but he's work studied.
mhm,
He's been there for 2 years,
mhm,
and
which
he's
by my count puts him there for longer than Greg, as far as I
longer
can
than
tell.
Greg.
Mhm.
Yeah. And um he's better at the job than Felicity because, oh, guess what? He's been there for 2 years. Also, he needs to do work study. And now
Mhm.
they don't have a position, and he's getting fired next Friday.
Mhm.
So again, I'm on his side.
That doesn't make sense to me, though, to be really honest with you.
You only have so much money for a work study position, and they removed it.
But the budgets come from different places. Like the this this episode doesn't actually make a lot of sense from a headcount standpoint. Like it's also really hard for me to believe that any of these people are in any amount of competition with each other, except for people applying for the exact same role. Like, okay, so they've told us in a prior episode that a community service position is distinctly different from a volunteer position. The head count is a different
Mhm.
thing. It's assigned in a different way. The volunteer
Mhm.
role is probably sorted out directly through the health center, and then volunteers generally there's some amount, even though you're not paying the volunteer, um, usually there is some sort of a budget that is associated with having a number of
Yes.
volunteers, whoever leads the volunteers, so you're going to be given a head count around that. That's
Yeah, and
aside from,
overhead.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
aside from comm serves. And then
Yes.
work study comes from the financial aid office.
Yeah, but you probably, as the clinic and every other place, like the cafeteria and everywhere, has to apply for a number of people from work study because there's only so many people who are going to get paid X amount for doing work
Sure, but
study.
you wouldn't have that go away in the middle of a semester. Like, no chance. When you, like, I did work study jobs every semester, and I think we usually applied for positions every semester, and then you had it for the full semester. And in a place that maybe operates with like trimesters or quarter systems, it might work a little bit differently, but you basically pulled from a list, you picked the ones you want. And there were like, if you I don't know if I want to use the word seniority, but like if you had been doing, I don't know, if there was like a cafeteria job that you really had been doing for years, like chances were if you wanted to apply for that, you were going to get it again the
If
next
it existed.
semester. Yeah.
If it existed.
But they never changed that between in the middle of a semester.
Yeah, I
That
could
never
see
got
like in the
changed.
middle of the semester thing,
Mhm.
and that is purely a plot device here.
That's definitely a plot device. And so like, but the work study funding would come from the financial aid office. And so that's not really, the budgets are just different. And then there's the assistant to the director position, which sounds to me like a position that is hired and paid through the budget of the
The
health center.
administration.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So all of these things are completely different things, even though they all function as a team. The
Yeah.
people who assign these positions and the people who pay or not pay these positions or track or report on these positions are all completely different, which is probably pretty complex in terms of reporting
Hmm.
for Greg or whoever his assistant would be. But I don't, it's not actually like practical to me that there would be like so many of these people would be at odds with each other. Um,
But it doesn't seem like there are. It's like there's one volunteer position,
mhm.
and there was a work study position. And if we pretend we're at the end of the, semester, he's lost the work study position.
Yeah. I don't, I have a hard time believing he would lose the work study position.
Well,
is the thing.
because of the timing, right? But like it happens.
It is rare. Like I when I think
It's
about the
not
work
like the
study
cafeteria.
positions, so but it's usually the thing that would change. Basically nothing changed from year to year in the selection of work study jobs that we had. Like nothing. Like it was the same menu of stuff. And you had to pick your shifts, which that would change for people because your classes change and your available time changes. But it was basically always the same menu of options. And going into my senior year, I was very fortunate that because I did like cafeteria jobs every semester. And then my junior year, I was like, what am I doing with my life? And so I was like, I was a gymnast and I was like, oh, I wonder if there's something in the sports department. So I went to a guy in sports marketing and he ultimately created a position for me for senior year in work study. Um, and I don't even know all the things that went into that, but like you could
But
create positions.
then there becomes the question of, so what happens when you left?
I don't
Maybe your
know.
work study position went away. There's only one work study position here. Maybe it was
Mhm.
created for someone and now it's going away. Like, eh, I don't
It,
see this the same as like
yeah.
all the other places, like the dining halls and stuff that have a number of students. There's
But
one
if Jim was filling it and
position.
he's been filling it for 2 years, I see absolutely no reason why that position would have been in jeopardy. Like I
Only, I
can't.
mean, it's a funding issue. It's always a funding issue. I mean, look, it's
Yeah.
possible, you know? It just that's it's not fair, but
It seems a
it's the way
lot
things
less
work.
likely to me. Like it seems as though you'd be more likely to get another work study position filled rather than an assistant director position, to be honest, like filled. If you
Well,
were
they're from two
monitoring the
separate
budget,
budgets.
they are, and and it would
So,
save this health center money.
but nobody is offering him. But like because they're coming from different places,
Yeah.
he like he's getting he's getting paid by different areas,
Yeah.
right?
I want to formally apologize to the listeners once again, because yet again, I have taken us into the weeds. I have, I hope you are all you've got bug spray. I hope that you've like got long pants and you've got, like long sleeves
Yeah.
and we're weed whacking. And like, I'm sorry. I'm
And I
sorry.
will say at the beginning of this, Melissa said she was going to push us forward
Yeah, I
and not
did.
do this.
I'm
She
That's what I said.
specifically
All
said
right.
that.
So let's keep moving. Let's keep moving. Jim
Yes,
is pissed.
Jim is pissed. He is not Greg's type and therefore pissed that Felicity got the job because she is Greg's type.
Mm-hmm.
And Felicity and Greg are now going to have a discussion about
And
that.
somehow Jim has now gotten let go. Despite what I may think
Well,
about
he
that.
was going to get fired next Friday. He's not fired
Okay.
yet.
Okay.
But like next Friday, yeah.
He has just enough time to stomp around the office.
Yeah. It's the end of Jim.
Yeah. So all of that. So now Felicity is going to go to Greg.
She's going to have some chit chat.
Uh-huh.
I
And
had a
she
great time on
point
the
blank.
date. You had a great time on the date. Felicity's
Mm-hmm.
wearing an amazing shirt.
Mm-hmm.
And Felicity's not having it. You're right.
She cuts right to the chase pretty much. She's just like, did I get that position because you like me? Yep.
And I mean, the one thing I can say about Greg is he is honest.
Yeah, I mean, he's shooting
I
it pretty
mean,
straight here.
he's just like, yeah, yep.
That
And
is a summary of the situation. And then she turns around, she walks out of his office, grabs Jim, brings Jim into the office, and says, make him your assistant.
yep. Um, and and this is where I continue to dislike Greg.
Mm-hmm.
And it gets deeper because, I think she's right to be pissed. And she says, I am not like, am I more qualified? Like, am I? And, Greg's just like, no, like Jim is more qualified. Like by a long shot.
Mhm.
That's what he just full out says that. And when she pulls Jim in, and Jim is like, oh, no, 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 no. Um,
Mhm,
Greg's
mhm.
like, give us a minute, Jim.
Yeah.
Um, he then turns on Felicity and says, don't put me on the spot. And he starts to cop an attitude about it. Like,
Mhm,
he's the boss and don't do this to me.
mhm,
And, look, the number of staff is limited. I don't make the rules. You
mhm.
know, I I had to go to bat for you.
And
I
she's like, well,
called,
I'll volunteer.
yeah.
Oh, well, that comes up in a minute.
Well, and he has to explain to her, like, the staff is limited. We unfortunately, you and I have been through this in detail.
Yes, we've covered
But
this
now
ground. She's
now
like, I'll be a
they
volunteer. He's like, nope, Doug's the volunteer. Sorry, if you don't want the
yes.
job, quit. And we have worked out behind the scenes earlier in this podcast whether or not we think that the whole headcount thing is plausible. Not an issue right now. These are the
Yeah.
facts.
No. The facts are that he had to call who? Who did he have to call?
I missed that.
Oh,
Who did he
come
have to
on,
call?
Melissa. John
He had to call
Simmons.
John Simmons? How
He
did I
had
miss
to
this?
call. Yeah, that's who he had to
Team
call.
am I
He had to
on? Okay.
call John Simmons
He
and
called
make a
John
hard
Simmons.
sell.
Okay.
Yes, and make a hard sell
Yeah.
for Felicity.
Mm-hmm.
And frankly, she's just being ungrateful.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Mm-hmm.
his take.
Okay.
And you know what? If you don't want the job, then you can quit.
Which she
And she's
does.
like, I quit. And at this point, I'm asking, is Greg more like Noel or her dad? Like all the worst parts
Okay.
of, like, Noel just coming out of the woodwork being like, here's your mini fridge. And, oh, Ruby, let me give you like favorable treatment on your tests. Or her
Mm-hmm.
dad, who's like, let me put you in your place, young lady. Yeah, Greg at this point in my mind
You're
he's
not liking it.
sucking a big lemon.
Okay.
Um, yeah, I'm no longer a Greg fan right
Oh,
now.
okay. Well, let's see. We're going to get more from them a little bit later, but let's go back to, okay, we're going back documentary style. We have another Elena and Tracy scene together.
Yeah.
And this is still the one-upmanship competitive thing. So it feels a little different from the first one, but not that much. So Sean's like, hey, is college overwhelming? Lena's like, nope. And Tracy says, well, yeah, actually. You know, real facts. So I've got this stuffed rabbit doll. Gets me through when things are hard. And Elena's like, oh. And so she tells her own story. She's like, okay, well, if we're getting real, I have a name tag. It says Dr. Elena Tyler. When days are hard, I like to rub it and I like to say, yes, I am Dr. Elena Tyler. And then Tracy's just like, I was kidding about the rabbit. She gets so angry.
So angry. She's like, she just leaves.
Yeah. Oh, he teases her all the way.
Yep.
So it's boy,
Yeah.
these two
And
kids.
then we get Elena's roommate coming in.
Mm,
And
Noel is panicked.
he's panicked because again, he's a dead man. He doesn't find the
Mm-hmm.
books. He's a
Yeah.
dead man. Dead man.
And they freeze. We're watching Sean and Richard editing it, and they
Yep.
just stop his face in the most unfortunate position as he says, I'm a dead man.
I mean, he looks so angry and
Yeah.
frustrated with life. And Sean's like, no, no, we're going to go back to the way I'm editing this because not Noel, Richard has decided that this is the way it should be shot. Yeah.
Yeah. um they're having behind the scenes bickering right now about like how they're going to edit it and whose style is better, and Sean's being
Yeah.
all condescending to Richard, and
Mm-hmm.
Ben's going to interrupt
He's
all
like, I know
this.
what a dissolve is.
um,
Sean's like, no, you don't.
so Ben's going to interrupt this by arriving.
Mm-hmm.
And he mentions Al. He just came from session with
Yeah.
Al. And
Sean wants to know if he's still alive.
yeah, he's like, stop saying that. Would everybody stop saying that? Al's alive. And then he's like, how's your stupid movie? Very
Mm-hmm.
Ben way to put that. And Richard's so excited to share their subplot with Ben, which is
Oh.
immediately the worst idea that's ever happened, right? Where he's like, okay, let me tell you all about the Felicity and Greg dating story. And Sean's like, no, 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 no. And so they're showing Ben the footage of the date. You
Yep.
can hear Sean downplaying it. He's like, it's not that big a deal. It's
Well,
like,
first they're showing the the video when the recorder was left.
yes, that's how we know that there was
Yeah, it was
actually
left
footage taken there.
running, and Greg and Felicity are sitting in the health center saying, "Hey, we kissed,"
Mm-hmm.
and then we go to the date.
Yeah. And we get yet another lingering shot on Ben's face, just looking miserable. And
Yeah,
and we're hearing Sean say stuff like, it's not that big a deal. Like Sean is trying to downplay, but um we just I don't know when it happened that Sean became like sensitive Sean.
I know. It was
But we've been
about
remarking on
four
this lately.
episodes. It's since he and Julie had that conversation.
Okay. That's yeah, it makes sense because we're definitely getting this consistently now, like where Sean
Hmm.
cares and he cared before, but he was reckless and like now he seems to be really in tune. So I don't know. It's cool to see
Maybe
that.
Ben's rubbing off on him,
Yeah,
or vice
somewhere
versa.
along the way somebody did, and we're getting this pretty consistently from Sean now. And but
Somebody's got to be there for Ben.
yeah, Ben's been so alone
Hmm.
for so long now. Um, but this is really going to tip Ben over the edge, and Ben is going to storm into the health center looking for Felicity. And this, unfortunately, is where he butts heads with Greg.
Yeah, so I have a question here. So
Mm.
I wrote down Ben feels bad about himself. And then under
In the health
Rich,
center,
no, in when Sean
while
and
watching the
Richard,
video.
yeah.
Okay.
And then I wrote down Richard saying, uh, blows with M and now B. Ah, I know what I was saying. So first he blows it by telling Megan that Greg was dating Felicity, and now he is blowing it with Ben by
I'm
doing the same.
so glad that you slipped that up for yourself. I had
Because I
nothing
was
for
like,
you.
did he say something? What happened? Okay, got it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep, yep.
So glad we've got that answered.
Hmm.
We are going to head into the health center. This first part of this scene was a little weird to me. Um,
Yeah, because Jim is clearly still there and
mhm.
still using all the hair product. And Greg really, like, he doesn't want to talk to Ben and he's being very dismissive.
But why? Is
I
there
think
a
because he just
reason?
doesn't, why? He didn't like Ben. Ben came in as a comm serve. He like screwed up. He didn't do any of the Excel files. Keeps hanging around.
Oh, you know
Like,
what, Fish? The last time they talked, it was the 63% of me thinks you're a dick.
oh yeah.
Okay, 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 okay. Okay, that's why this is charged on both sides. Okay. I was like,
Also
I know they
funny.
don't like each other, but I was like,
Yeah.
where did it come unglued to this point where he would just show up, ask for Felicity, and get met with this? And that's where. Um,
Yeah. And Ben has his I'm on a mission walk.
yeah.
Like he's got to walk when he's got a mission, and he's on one.
He's definitely on one, but the initial mission he shows up with is looking for Felicity.
Yes.
And Greg's like, she's not here. And he's like, well, then where is she? Well, she's not here. I don't know. It's like, did she leave?
Yeah.
If she's not here, she must have left, Ben. Like, it's just so much testosterone. Like, it's a lot. Um, but there they are. And that could have been the end of this scene. And for a moment was going to be, because Ben like turns around and starts briskly walking away again on a mission.
Yep.
But then he changes his mission.
Yep. Yep.
And Ben spins back around and
Hmm.
just as briskly walking, just goes straight into Greg's office.
He's got a shoulder walk. Like he walks with his shoulders when he's on a mission.
Okay.
And he's just gonna bust into that room.
This is not a conversation. Ben's like, I know about you. I know about the cocaine. I know about the arrests. If you hurt her in any way, I'll kill you.
And I have to admit, I was a little disappointed by Ben here.
For what of the many reasons that you could well, for why? For why?
Look, if you're gonna threaten to kill someone,
Mm-hmm.
at least punch them. Like
Okay.
he was on a mission. He looked like he was gonna punch someone. And maybe the desk was the issue, but like I really feel like this moment needed like punching Ben
Mm.
because let me tell you, threatening to kill someone, not better.
Yeah.
So it's not like I feel better about Ben.
Well, the thing
Um,
is, like, the real threat here, of all the different things that could feel like a threat here, the real threat is that Ben has just very specifically
hmm,
named two exact things from his past that Greg has told nobody else about in this series.
yep.
So, like, it's not just that I'll kill you or if you hurt her. It's like, oh my God, he has the facts. I don't know where he's gotten them. Um, but he has accurate information that could probably bring me down quicker than his fists. So, well, I don't know if it could if it's in his student file and he still got his job, but like,
Yeah. But
um,
it's not something that's known, and it's certainly not something that Felicity knows.
mm. And
And
it's not something he wants widely known. Ben is like the last person he'd want to have this information. So like that's the real like threat to his future. Um,
it is,
it's like
and
an
it's,
amorphous threat to his future.
but I just feel like it was very anticlimactic. Like, just don't say I'm gonna kill you then.
Mm-hmm.
Like, come in, say, like, I know about the cocaine, I
Mm-hmm.
know about the arrests, don't hurt her,
Mm-hmm.
and then leave. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, it just didn't fit together for me. Like, if you're
Mm-hmm.
gonna say you're gonna kill someone, hit them. If you're not gonna say that, don't. Just don't
Mm-hmm.
say it.
Yeah.
And I think it
Yeah.
would be better if you had just hadn't said it.
Yeah. Yeah. Fair enough. Well, so that happened. And
Mhm.
that's a storm. Um, and
And
then
now Felicity and Dr. Pavone are together, which means ding,
mhm.
ding, ding. It is time for Melissa and I to fight.
Okay. Well, so
I
I
love how you
guess
just take this in stride. You're like, I'm ignoring your whole bit.
no, I'm
Uh,
just looking through my notes. So okay, so Pavone, we catch this sort of like mid. Felicity has like already sort of explained. I think we're meant to get that Felicity has explained and re-explained many times the same problem to Pavone while in this office. So Pavone is at the end of her rope in terms of patience here, I think. Um, but she's like, I don't understand the problem. Felicity's like, I'll tell you again. Like, it's like, okay, he gave you a job. She's like, yes. And she's like, but he gave you a job. She's like, yes, but he shouldn't have. She's like, but he gave you a job. And then she's like, but I wasn't more qualified. I don't deserve it. And she's like, well, so Pavone's saying, I am arguing that you're sabotaging an opportunity for yourself. And she's like, but I don't deserve the opportunity. And that they kind of go around in this circle. And then Pavone says, look, I've got nothing against Jim, but there's going to be like 2,000 Jims in your life, and they'll get the job because they're a man. And Felicity's like, well, I don't agree with that. And then Pavone signs the form that Felicity has finished the community service. So that's basically like the main beats, or the overall picture. So what were you seeing in this scene, Fish?
Well, I mean, I do agree with her point about, 2,000 gyms will get the jobs because they have a penis. Lucy's like, I don't agree, and she's wrong.
Yeah, I think that's where I got lost in this scene, to be honest, where Felicity didn't agree with that. I was like, this is not like.
Well, what they're trying to set up here is Pavone, which she has done a number of times, sort of knocking down Felicity's. Well, okay, so actually, I see very much here Pavone taking on a Greg role. So she's knocking down Felicity's idealism, and she is being very pragmatic.
Mhm.
And when Greg does it, I think it makes sense because he's running something in the real world.
Mhm.
From a therapeutic perspective, when
Mhm.
you are actually trying to integrate someone into themselves, when you are trying to say, here are your values, like tell me what they are, tell me how that integrates into your life. You don't turn around and say, your values are wrong, right?
Mhm.
That's not the role of a therapist.
Mhm.
The role of a therapist is to take you as you are and to help you, achieve goals or, get past trauma or, as I keep saying, like integrate yourself, make your actions consistent with your values, consistent with like, body, mind, spirit. And what she's doing here instead is saying, you have this value which says I should not date someone and benefit from that from a professional and monetary perspective. And I shouldn't get that job over someone else who is more qualified and use my sexuality basically to do it.
Mhm.
And what Pavone is saying is, look, women don't get these types of opportunities, and men do. And basically, kind of you have to ignore your values for the pragmatic reason that this is an opportunity you're getting. And if it was an opportunity that she was getting, say from, like, let's say she was getting it from like a friend or like a friend of her father's or like something like that, where yes, people get a leg up. Nobody gets where they are without help. I can
Mhm.
understand fully Dr. Pavone's point there.
Mhm.
Like, idealism be damned. Like,
Mhm.
that is kind of the way the world works right now.
Mhm.
But her personal value is I don't want to use my sexuality to get forward in the workplace.
Mhm.
And I don't think it's Dr. Pavone's like place as a therapist to say your value is wrong.
Mhm. But the thing that she's focusing on, Felicity seems to be focusing on when she's talking about this at this point in the conversation, is he gave me the job, but I don't deserve it. And Pavone's
No,
like,
she
who's to
says
say you don't deserve it?
she says, she first says, um, I went to dinner
Mhm.
and then got the job.
Mhm.
And then Pavone says, you're sabotaging an opportunity.
Mhm.
And Pavone's right. She's like, you deserve an opportunity. Grow up, Jim. That part I don't have a problem with. Separated.
Mhm.
from the we went to dinner, I'm using my sexuality to get this.
Yeah, fair enough. I think I would agree with that line of thought too. I think that if Felicity's taking this all the way to I am this is equating to yeah, like if she's saying like I see this as I am manipulating the situation with my sexuality and getting what I want from it. And
And I don't think
that's a
she's doing
problem
it
with
on
that. See,
purpose.
that's the thing too. I don't think any of them are
It's,
doing it on purpose here. I
but
think
I
this is a
think,
relationship that's forming. And she's also, I think, in my opinion, looking at what I know about what she said in her pitch, like she has qualifications. Like it's not like she's unqualified for the job. So it's like for her to sit here and say she doesn't deserve it is what I hear. Like it's so tricky because in the real world too, um, from two different standpoints. First of all, I cannot like all the time. I like as somebody who does small business marketing, I talk to small business owners who feel uncomfortable to approach people they know about their job to get any sort of a leg up with their own personal connections because they feel icky. And it's like you don't like just tell a person what you do for a living. Like people stay so all the way away from it that to me it looks like self-sabotage. And so I've had to have this conversation so many times from that standpoint where people feel morally gross saying to a person they know, I do a business. And like, it's like, wow, that is so like, so I think my perspective on this has like softened maybe over the years where it's like opportunity, like to some degree, we self-sabotage when we don't take opportunities and like or when we don't give ourselves the opportunity to have the opportunity. So this is a conversation I have all the time in my professional life. And then from a standpoint of women, I know way more women than I want to even try to count who don't apply or don't ask for the raise or don't that because they think they don't have that. Oh, I've got everything on this job description except this one line. I'm not going to apply. I have had so many conversations with people. It's like, why are you making that decision? Like, you just don't know what people are looking for. You let them make the choice. So I feel like I've been in Pavone's position so many times. And then you are focusing on the layer of the sexuality piece, and I get that. But I think the message that Pavone's sending outside of that is so correct. So it's like, I guess I want to like pull apart the pieces of this because,
yeah. And as I said, if it wasn't for Felicity saying, this is my value,
mhm,
if this was a different situation, but look at the order this happened in, right? She kisses Greg. Maureen goes bye-bye.
mhm,
Um, Greg asks her out. Then Greg offers her the job.
mhm,
Then they go out on a date.
mhm,
Then she finds out from Greg in his own words that Jim is, quote, hands down better qualified at this job than her.
mhm. Yeah, I think for me, they didn't do themselves any favors in this episode by the order they presented it this in. But I do believe all of this would still have been on the table had they presented it in a better order. I think there'd still be a love interest happening, brewing, budding between Greg and Felicity, a genuine one. I think that Felicity would still have some level of qualifications for this open position. And I think that, we have certainly haven't seen a whole lot from her in the art area recently, but the pre-med thing was a main focus for her in the past, and I think that she's had a passion in that area that she's almost rediscovering by being at the health center. So I think there's a definite problem here in the order of this happening, but I believe that all of this is organic. It's just they're presenting it in a terrible like order of operations. I think that
I
everything
think
that's
there's a
happening here is
reason,
genuine.
but I think there's a reason that they do it in that order. because I don't know if Greg would have given her the job if she hadn't gone out with him.
I think that he would
And
have.
I don't know at this point because, and I'm thinking about this from like a Felicity perspective. She's going to have to grow up and live with whatever the choices she makes are. And to her, this seems like, and, you know, is fully backed up by Greg, that the only reason she got this job was because he liked her.
And see, the thing is, I think that's a little bit unfair too for us as viewers, because when I see Jim, so if we think about Jim and Felicity's personalities, Jim is a guy who's going around the office and gossiping. Felicity basically took the fall for Maureen losing all of the files like before the health center crashed, and didn't raise that issue with anybody else on the team until Greg approached her, apologized, and Felicity came in and saved his butt and didn't have to. So, like, if I think about the person, like, if I think about who's a person that's like potentially a workhorse versus a person who's potentially contributing to a gossiping environment on the team, like, that would be right there a reason that I would evaluate them as team players. So, like, there could be a bunch of different things to factor in here that go beyond like how much time you've spent on the job, because
But
Felicity,
those Felicity hands down asks Greg straight out, am I as qualified
but maybe that's
as
not the
Jim?
question. Like, yeah, qualification, Jim is better. Okay, great. Is that the absolute only thing to be considered for a job? I would say
No,
no. And in
then,
fact, for me, qualification has never been something that's been the highest priority for me in the jobs that I've filled. For me,
so
I'm
she
often looking at
says,
personality and how teams mesh. So
yeah,
it's
but the
like,
personality part of it is the only reason, only reason you gave me this job because you like me. And he says yes. And for me, I find that it is completely fine at that point in time for Felicity to be pissed at him.
sure. And then don't take the job. But there's
Right.
also Pavone
Exactly.
saying, take an opportunity if you want it. Don't take an opportunity if you don't want it. You're leaving an opportunity on the table. And I think that's accurate too. And so
But
she's
I
saying
think,
that her ideals are more important to her. And
yeah,
that's great. That's the choice that she wants to make here. But like, I don't think that Pavone's wrong in how she's put it
I
either.
do. I think by saying you're sabotaging an opportunity directly conflicts with Felicity trying to say, I have a set of ideals and values
And
here.
yeah, it directly conflicts. And that's the world. I think
But
a lot
I
of
don't
times,
think that's the role of a therapist to tell you that your values are wrong.
yeah, I
That's a
don't know
role of
about the role of
someone
a
else.
therapist. I think that I think that is the world. And I have made many decisions in my own career that have been about ideals that tanked me, and I knew that I was evaluating it based on looking in the mirror. And had I been sitting there and saying it should be fair, that's not something that I should complain about, because that's not like a factor. It's like, you can make idealistic choices or you can make choices that advance you further. Sometimes it does come down to that. And I have found that every time I've made the choice about what would make me look in the mirror better, it was worse for my career. And that is something that I accept. But
Hmm.
like,
And that's something that Felicity does, and she accepts because that's, I mean, she kind of does find a little bit of a middle ground for it,
well,
but
they kind of magic trick their way through
yeah,
some things here. But I think I do not disagree with Pavone that these things are at odds. And I don't think that it's unfair for Felicity to be aware that they are at odds. Like, they are very often at our odds in the real world.
I think
And
she could say that they are at odds, but I don't think Dr. Pavone should be making a case against Felicity's emerging, like, value system. Like saying sabotage is a value statement. She could have said anything like, I think you're hurting your chances at
I
getting,
think for me it
this
ends up being the
opportunity.
same thing. Like I absolutely would use a
Mm,
sabotage from word sabotage for myself in the situations that I'm thinking of for myself. But I felt fine about sabotaging it in a certain way. It's like I am tanking this to look in the mirror tomorrow and feel okay about myself. And I just tanked it. Like those things were both true at exactly the same time. And Pavone is like, first of all, she shoots him straight. She's going to give you her opinion. But I
mm,
also have a feeling that we're entering this conversation like 40 minutes into Felicity telling her the same thing over and over again. And it's like, well, why are you here? Like, what are you doing about this? I think
I
it's
don't know. I think Pavone is
similar
going
to the,
hard.
yeah, well, I
She's
think it's
going
similar
hard on
to what we
this.
saw the last episode where she was like, it's not Greg's problem, this whole morning after pill business. Like, it's like, still, no matter how many times you tell me this should be Greg's problem, it is not his problem. And Felicity's like, oh, it's mine. Pavone's like, uh-huh. So I think Pavone is way off with the kid gloves. Like she does not use kid gloves with Felicity whatsoever.
No, but I think she's just 100% wrong in her role here. Like saying you're sabotaging it, you deserve the opportunity, grow up, Jim. 2,000 Jims will get it because they have a penis. She is just like conflating a whole bunch of things here. And if Felicity was to take her advice, let's say she does, she goes and she's like, all right, I'm not going to sabotage the opportunity. Then she's got this job where she's like dating her boss and what does she owe him sex? Like, what happens when the relationship doesn't work out? Like, he's paying her. Like, the only reason he gave her the job, she's undermining her own self-worth, like, knowing that that's why she got it. Like, if she can get over all that stuff and say that to us, fine. But that
yeah.
does not seem to be where she is right now. She's pissed at Greg. She's got a good reason to be pissed at Greg. And Pavone has absolutely no right to come at her like this.
Mm,
That's just
yeah.
my view.
Well, I think we've put out a bunch of different angles of this. I think that I'm looking at some different layers here than you're looking at. You're looking at some different ones than I'm looking at. And I think I totally understand your point of view about like if this is about sex, don't do it. I have an impossible time believing this is all about sex. And I think that might be a writing issue. Um, I just believe that like there is a budding relationship with Greg and that Felicity is qualified enough to be considered for this role, and there may be other factors here. I really don't think Jim was presented to me as somebody that I want on my team. Jim
Well,
looks
I
like a guy who's
also,
going to gossip his way through the office and potentially create a toxic culture like that. I've seen Jim's like I just by many different names, by many different like descriptions, and like give me a workhorse, give me
then
somebody who's going to help you get the stuff done, and not cause a problem in the office. Like I,
then Greg should have said that.
yeah,
That's
he
not what he
probably should
said.
have, which to me is more of like a maybe had he said a couple things differently in like the writer's room, maybe they worked it out differently. But I don't throw away all the stuff that I already know about these characters. Like I think there's so much truth to what is happening here that I just don't buy that this is all about sex.
Well, sex slash relationship, caring about people, which I just, this is how discrimination happens. Like, I don't think it's okay. But I don't think you said we're never going to see Jim again. So we never get his like backstory and
I don't think
qualifications.
we do. Uh I might eat my words on that, but I'm pretty sure that Jim is a one episode guy. But we'll
Yeah,
see.
which makes sense. Um, Quick question. So when you're doing work study, like how many hours a semester are you doing?
Oh, that you know what? I really don't remember. Um,
like 5 or like
No, a
500?
lot more than that. So it was weekly shifts, multiple shifts. It might have been a couple shifts a week. It could have been 5 hours a week. For for however many weeks there were in the semester. It was a pretty good amount. You could do more, I think. Like you could do I had limits because I was a gymnast too, and I had a full academic course load. So there might have been people who were pulling down a lot of shifts, and I'm not sure if there was a cap.
I'm
But I
just doing
think
some
even
back of the
with me,
envelope.
yeah,
So
even
that's still only 60 hours, like a semester? Does that sound right?
could be, but that would be for that might have been like a minimum. Like because I had athletics going on too,
Yeah.
I'm guessing there were people who pulled down a lot more shifts.
So let's say over Jim's tenure, he's done 120 hours at a minimum.
Mm-hmm.
Felicity hasn't even done 50.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there's also a lot to be
Yeah.
said for like his performance has been evaluated a
Well,
lot
we
more than
also
hers.
don't know how to compare apples to apples here because I don't know if Jim had previous work before this. Because if she's worked at, like the Stanford Health Clinic in her dad's office, I don't know what I don't know if I'm comparing apples to apples here. If
Yeah.
Jim has had tons of experience before this, plus that, then that's one thing. But Felicity names, more than one job that she's had at medical offices or similar types of clinics. So
Yeah. All
she
we
worked a
know at the
blood
end of the
drive.
day, yeah, there was that one time or more when she
Maybe that
held
was at the
Ben's
Stanford
blood.
Health Clinic.
That was at her high school, wasn't it?
Oh,
Because
geez. Okay. So
Ben was there.
yeah. So I mean, she's definitely had experience. Not looking at their resumes side by side, it's like impossible to know who has more, actually. Like, but
All we know is that Greg obviously thinks the gym is better for the job.
he does. He says that he's more qualified, but
No, but he also says the only reason that he gave Felicity jobs because he likes her.
yeah, for me, that's a problem with the writing because I see no way you can argue with me that like Felicity is unqualified for this job. Like I don't
But like if he
see how
didn't
we
like
get
her,
there.
he wouldn't have given her the job is the point. If he did not have a
I
romantic attachment to her, he is saying, I would not have given you the job.
I think that's unfortunate that they have that in writing for him because I don't the people that they're presenting to me look like they are not that far apart and Felicity looks like a better worker by a lot. So it's like,
But that's not the decision that was being made.
yeah, to me that's a problem with the writing. To me that is not
Or the
something I
world.
believe about what we've gotten to this point. Like I'm
I
not prepared to
absolutely believe it.
yeah, so I think that's where our like the fundamental part of this disagreement comes from because I fully believe that Felicity is an asset to the health center from everything that I've seen. And looking at Jim, while he may have done a lot of hours at the health center, this is if I could choose somebody who's going to be like griping around the office versus somebody who's going to get it done, like that's going to weigh pretty heavily in my choices. Is it going to
But
be the only deciding factor? Maybe not.
you're not the one making the decision. Greg is. And so
Yeah.
we have to look at how Greg makes decisions.
Yeah. And I still like she's been shadowing him. She's been getting things done. He goes to her to save his butt when Maureen loses all of the files. He didn't go to Jim or Jim didn't say yes. Like Felicity dropped everything and fixed it. So it's just like what they've presented to me up until this point makes me not believe that that's actually the only reason that he's doing this. And so I don't know.
And he continues to be a little flippant, I think, as we continue the conversation here, because at least Javier has decided that he is not going to get lipo.
Mm. He is really carrying this on. Like, this is like
It's a
at least his
decision,
second episode.
you know?
Well, yeah, he's made a choice. He was weighing it out, and now he's made a choice.
He made a choice. He got to see the footage, and he's taken two things away from it. First one, he's not a bad looking guy,
Yeah, that's good.
you know? Yeah. And second, his English is fantastic.
Those are great things. Those are great
Yeah.
things. Um, so this is happening. This is also not documentary style. They're at Dean and DeLuca. Javier's doing all this stuff, and then Greg shows up,
Yes.
and
He needs to talk to Felicity.
yeah, has Ben talked to you? He says. They step outside Dean and DeLuca. They're outside. They're outside now, and they're having a conversation in privacy, and or at least with just the people on the street hearing them. So Greg is like, has Ben talked to you? This perks Felicity's ears up a bit. Like, why?
Mm-hmm.
What? He's like, well, just need to tell you, I had a drug problem. I got help. I'm clean. Felicity is like, why are you telling me this?
Yeah.
He's like, well, I want to tell you before Ben could. She's like, Ben?
Mm-hmm.
She's really she has no idea which way is up right now. It's like, how does Ben know? Why does he talk? Like, what is happening here? Um, Greg chooses not to tell her the worst version of this story, where like Ben came into my office and threatened my life. Like, he doesn't say that. He just says Ben was being protective, which is such a generous way to explain what just happened. Like, I
But
don't
it's
know.
exactly, well, I mean, no, it's not exactly what was happening because maybe I don't think Greg really knows the full history there, but
Yeah.
like at least a part, I think, of Ben was being protective the
No,
same
I
way that
do
he and
agree with
Noel
that. And I don't
were.
mean to say Greg was generous and like, oh, we should all be grateful to Greg. I think it's like, why is he being
Yeah.
like, I'm actually confused why he's choosing not to say that. Like, he could be sinking Ben.
He doesn't seem petty to me.
Guess not. I
Um,
mean, this could have been delivered in a way where Felicity goes away from this conversation riled up about Ben anyway, but like this could have been
way worse.
really damaging, like for Ben, um deliberately, and he deliberately didn't make it as damaging as he could. So it was like, oh, you just had this argument, this guy told you 63% of you is a dick.
Yeah.
Like, there's not really a lot of reason why he'd be protecting Ben in this moment, but
I mean, so here's the other thing about addicts, especially if he's fairly newly, uh, you know, sober slash in recovery, and less than 2 years in is, and a lot of people are, really stick to this and continue to do it throughout their lives. There is just this brutal honesty
mm,
that comes with sobriety, and it is drummed into everyone's head that if you step away from this, you will end up kind of with resentments, you will end up relapsing. Like, you have to be honest, and you have to live with this, just this 100% honesty in your life.
okay.
And so I think part of us is seeing that come out in Greg, and it's not PC, but it is his truth. It is his honesty. And, that's why I said earlier, like, at least he's honest,
Mm-hmm.
and he's going to continue to do it. So it's like, yeah, I think his assessment was, do I really think Ben's going to kill me? No. Like, he was coming in, he was being productive. Am I going to give him the benefit of the doubt? Yeah.
Okay. Well,
And
yeah,
then
that's what he does.
yeah, he pretty much goes on like a what's that called? Stream of consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
again with the honesty. And he's talking about how long he works, and like having Felicity there has changed his day and the grunt work that he has to do. Like he hasn't been feeling motivated, and her being around just makes him feel better.
Mm-hmm.
And
then he
kinda...
says, and I still don't, it's sloppy here. So he says, I think I found a way to get both you and Jim back at the health center. And Felicity kind of prods him on that. And she realizes, oh, the thing that would get us there is you taking a pay cut.
Yeah.
Again, I don't understand how that's a thing, because if it's headcount,
yeah,
headcount and budget are two different things. Often they seem like they should be tied together, but headcount is different than budget. So he earlier cited headcount as the limit. And if now, I don't know, maybe behind the scenes, he's been really like going to bat for this and trying to like make negotiations. But
I mean,
on
we
the
know
face
he
of
talked
it,
to Dean Allison.
yeah, on the face of it, this doesn't make sense, but I don't want to get too hung up on it. Like he's saying that this can maybe be a solution. She's like, no, I don't accept that. You don't get to take a pay cut. Like, like that's not a thing. You work really hard there. She's like, I'll be a volunteer.
So
He's like,
let me. It's like, I can pay you to work here, but you can't volunteer here.
I know.
So clearly I've got clout with some people. And
the more we talk about this, the more spun around I am, because I feel like we understand what reality is, you know, in the world. And then like there's this the point that the world of this show.
Interesting choice here. Yeah. Felicity's like, no, you're not going to take a pay cut. I am going to go lie to Doug and scare him off.
Yeah. She's like, okay, so if what I need to do is get rid of the current volunteer, I will do that.
That's not what I thought she was going to do.
Yeah.
That was not, yeah. And that was definitely
especially for somebody who's all like morals, you know, like the whole thing is like, I've got morals. And so she walks up to Doug at the health center.
This really surprised me.
Hey, new guy, good luck with all the blood and the severed hands. He's like, what? Really? Blood and lots of like people with maybe severed hands? And she's like, well, okay, no. I just want the volunteer position and you have it. But if you give it to me, I'll owe you. And how great will that be that somebody owes you a favor? And Doug is like, wait, volunteer?
Yeah. I know.
So this whole thing was unnecessary. Every single thing was totally unnecessary here. Doug was the linchpin of this whole operation.
And Doug, we will continue to see. But what I thought Felicity was going to do was go do something else that required her to get more community service.
Oh.
Which I again realized wouldn't have worked. Well, no, maybe it would have worked because the work study position got taken away, but not necessarily the ComServe position. So that's where I thought she was going with this. And then she shows up and starts talking about blood with Doug, and I was like, what?
You just have to like, I don't know, live in the world of this show, I guess. I don't know. It's just not, I wonder. But we're going to get actually kind of a nice scene next. So we're back to the documentary style. And this one's just a solo interview with Tracy.
We love Tracy.
Yeah, this was really nice. It's tough being pre-med. You know, it's not as easy as he makes it look. He's didn't have any social life until he met Miss Competitive, Elena. So he's really like, this doesn't come it comes naturally, but not that naturally. Like he's put a lot of work in and he's really sacrificed a lot to be so good at what he's doing. And he makes this comment about Elena that really shows you where he is with her. Where I only wrote down part of it, Bish. Do you have the whole thing?
Oh, yeah. I thought this was so sweet. He says, so I think Sean says, why do you think she's so competitive? And Tracy says, I think it's really funny, that she's competitive because Elena is always trying to prove herself to everyone, but she's the one person who doesn't have to.
Yeah, she's one person who doesn't have to prove herself to anyone.
Yeah. I
I
just
think
thought
he
that
might have
was very
said, in
sweet.
my mind, she's the one. It's
I don't
just,
know. I don't think he qualified it at
you
all.
didn't. Okay.
No.
What a nice, because what we've been seeing from him is just like, I'm going to rile her up. I'm going to get her attention. I'm going to like needle her with this competitiveness. And like,
Mhm.
underneath it is this.
Yeah. It's a return to the sexy Tracy of when Noel burst in and didn't know how to resolve his relationship problems.
Yeah. Yeah.
Things that start with baby
I
just
think,
always end well.
I think that's why this works because he knows when and how to push her, but I think he's also very aware of I don't know. I feel like him saying stuff like this tells me that he gets where her limits are, maybe, or he's thought about it, or he's thought about where this is coming from,
Mhm.
where he can tackle this in a way that's like, I don't know, like he can be sensitive to that.
Yeah.
Um,
I think part of what he gets off on is how he makes her feel, which he has to understand in order to get off on.
yeah, that's
So
much better
he
said.
is very empathetic. He feels what she feels, and he he is caring about it. Like he doesn't, he does a funny dance, right? That's
Mhm.
that's not being super aggressive.
Yeah, it is. It's a dance. It's you put that much better than I did, so I'm not going to try to qualify it anymore. Like the scene
Okay then.
wrap. Let's just print that. Moving on. It's just, yeah, I like it. And then okay, Sean and Richard, they're editing again.
Yeah.
We need emotion. We need tears.
Yep.
Ben
Uh,
comes in. He's done
yep.
with community service.
Done.
Woot. Woot.
Very, very happy.
Yeah. Is Al still alive? Yes. Al's alive. But so Ben just came he wrapped it up. His last job was with Al, and turns out while he was working, somebody returned into the lost and found a whole package of stuff with Noel's name on it.
Yep.
And oh, that's lucky.
Yeah. And Richard's like, ooh, I think we've got our tears.
Mm-hmm.
And so he and Sean rush up to Noel
And we
and
get the
Richard.
documentary again.
Yes. And Richard, while Sean's behind the camera, Richard
Yep.
gets down on his knees in front of Noel and says to him, we are your guardian angels.
Mm.
Like they go through this whole thing about, how much would you love to have these books back? And he's like, yeah, I want them back. It's like, well, we're here. Like you may have thought we were just annoying gnats, but
Mm-hmm.
actually, we're your guardian angels. And he presents to Noel the brown
Envelope.
paper bag that contains all of these blue books. And Noel opens it and starts just taking them out slowly and spreading them across his lap and says, you've had these the whole time?
These all along. Yeah, they didn't really think this through.
No, they didn't. Because in fairness, they didn't have it the whole time.
They
So this is a
didn't,
little bit,
but I appreciate that it would look like they had manipulated
yes.
this situation from
Yeah,
Noel's
like I
standpoint.
kind of felt like maybe we missed a scene where Richard removed the blue books
Mm-hmm.
from that um, first scene in the in the classroom and was like, hee hee hee, I'm gonna hide these for later. But that's not what happens.
No,
No.
they just lucked into this moment, but unfortunately Noel takes it that they had actually stolen the blue books to begin with, and they were returning it for emotion. And so Sean makes the mistake of being like, just all you need to do is say thank you.
Mm.
And Noel gets up and he's like, thank you. And then he just punches the camera.
I mean, I'm assuming he punches Sean, who then falls over with the camera. But yeah, this this was quality.
This was good
This
stuff.
was
That was emotion.
yeah.
We're going to cut from that
Oh my.
to Javier's and another interview with Javier about how cute Julie is.
Mm-hmm. Her butt is like a muffin.
That's like a
And
muffin.
as we know from Javier, muffins are more important than health.
That's what we've established. Yeah. And then he tries to go down the track that he went with the Noel topic. And he was like, if I weren't gay, no. I still wouldn't want Julie, but she's very cute.
Yeah. He's like, I just can't. I can't.
He's like
I can't.
trying. And then he's like, sorry.
No,
It's not
I
a
can't
thing.
imagine. Look, she has girly parts, and I can't.
She's
But her
just
butt
cute.
is like a muffin.
Yeah, those things are all true. Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, okay.
Oh, Julie.
So we're gonna
Julie.
head to Epstein Bar.
We are going to see Julie
Oh,
outside.
you're right. We do see Julie. Okay.
Oh my gosh, do we see Julie? We
Yeah.
see the leprechaun Julie that only exists here in this moment.
Okay.
She has on a giant green crocheted hat,
Hmm.
a green jacket, a a sparkling green necklace, green earrings, and we're only seeing her from mid up because she's sitting.
Okay.
So Leprechaun Julie is here,
Hmm. Yep.
and just a mini scene.
Yeah,
A
this
little
is
mini
another
scene.
interview and very loaded since Sean's the one asking the questions, but he's asking her what she's looking for in a guy.
Mhm.
And basically, she's like, someone who loves me for me, despite all the obvious problems. He's like,
Mhm.
check.
She's like, I'm never gonna find it. And Sean's like, yeah, you will.
Yeah.
I'm right here.
Oh my goodness, Sean, poor Sean. Yes, so that happens. And then we head to Epstein Bar,
Yes.
where we are going to have a confrontation. Felicity finds Ben there.
Hmm.
Where did you find out about Greg?
Yeah.
Like, basically, why are you getting up in my business? But she keeps saying, where did you find out about Greg? He reveals that he found it in the student file. She's like, you had no right. And Ben is
Hmm.
like, oh, well, you did that to me last year. Same exact thing.
Yeah.
She's
And
like,
she's
the
like, it's
scenes
not the
were,
same. It was last year. And he's like, but no.
he's like, it's different because, it's just like one of that, like, just what? And he's like, well, why is it different? She's like, but because I was in love with you.
Well, she says I was stupid and irrational and in love with you.
Mhm.
And Ben
And
says nothing.
we just linger on his face and we're like, is he going to say it? This is probably not a good time to say it.
No,
He doesn't.
no. Oh, his face says everything.
His face says everything. And we linger on this long enough. We're honestly, Felicity,
Yeah, yeah.
come on. I mean, like, what? It
Well,
all actually does add up.
yeah. I mean, first we
Ugh.
linger on his face and he's saying nothing. And then finally he's like, yeah, whatever. And he gets up and
Yeah, he gets
leaves.
up and leaves.
And then we linger even longer on Felicity's face. And I mean, I don't know what's going to happen in the next episodes, as always. But to me, she is at least very, very seriously considering that Ben is in love with her.
You think?
Absolutely.
It feels to me like she's still totally clueless on
I don't know.
purpose almost.
Like, again, I don't know what's going to happen, but her expression to me said, like, not quite, oh shit, he's in love with me, but like, is it possible?
Well, okay. I'm gonna look for this in the next episode and see what I'm reading there. But gosh, I mean, how could she not? Like, this is ridiculous now.
Mm.
How many? Come on. Like, but
Melissa has been waiting for them to get back together.
I mean, at a certain point, like, you can't just keep walking around being like 2 + 2 = 4. It doesn't add up. Like, like, it's just like, Felicity, just open your freaking eyes. Like, I know it's, as an audience member, you're meant to see more of this, but man, it hasn't been that subtle, you know?
It really hasn't. But she also is having like a serious issue with Greg.
And she's got the stuff with her family. I mean, I get it. But like,
also, you're right. I mean, the number of times that he's called Greg a dick in front of her.
And for her to always be like, I don't get what your problem is with Greg. Like, come on. Like, you get it. You have to get it at some point, right? Can you get it now? Anytime. Anytime you want to get it. Oh. I guess that's what we're supposed to be feeling, right? Like,
I think we're supposed to feel frustrated. Like, they're trying not to pull a Ross and Rachel.
What a mess. We're going to go back to the health center, not documentary style again. And then Jim gives Felicity a flower. She's behind the desk again. All's well that ends well. Like, no Doug. Doug is nowhere to be found. They're both back at the health center.
Yet.
Where is Doug, though, Fish?
We'll get to him in a minute, because Greg here says, I'm glad you're back. And he leans over and he gives Felicity a kiss. And then he says, now we're even. So this is what I was referring to way at the beginning, where he was like, I owe you one. So was he purely talking about a kiss, or was he talking about everything that just happened? I don't know.
I don't know. I didn't even clock those lines. Interesting. I don't even have Greg in my notes here. Well, okay. You never know when you're still going to be writing. Like,
I enjoy that you clocked that Jim gave her a flower.
I was still writing. Jim gave her a flower at the point when you clocked the Greg
nowhere
line.
In this scene.
That's why we have to have both of us writing notes, because like, you write and you write and you write, and you never know the parts you miss.
And you miss parts. I fully agree.
Dang it.
But we do now get a parting shot of Doug, who is holding on his plate something that looks very similar to Julie's butt.
A muffin.
Mm-hmm.
Which he calls a bagel.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's like, I think this is a bagel. And he's a real slow talker, kind of like that one lab partner that Elena had for a minute.
Oh.
And Javier comes over. He's like handing it to a customer, and Javier like whisks him away. He's like, okay, Doug, let's you learn how to use Mr. Mop. And that's the world. Yeah. So
and Javier has a bagel and hands it to the customer and says he's new. Yeah. I don't think this is a new person issue.
This is if you don't know the difference between a muffin and a bagel, you got some problems.
Doug has some problems.
Yeah. So we're gonna close out here. So first, Sean is leaving a message or listening to a message from the Independent Film Channel, and Ben storms in. Doesn't want to talk. It's been a day.
He made it very clear. Don't want to talk about it. Just walks away.
And we're going to close with one more scene from the documentary.
So good.
And Megan, he is interviewing Megan.
Yep.
He's like, "Why are you an RA? Tell me about all that." And she's like, it was a bet. And here I am, I'm an RA. He's like, "Well, what do you get for the bet?" And she's like, this is it. I lost the bet.
Lost the bet.
And he closed with
Yeah.
Javier's impression of Megan. Megan, she
Whoa.
scares me to death.
Yeah. And she in the scene, Megan she has a skull behind her. She has a red sort of, it's a fluffy boa or like some lingerie with like fluffy red stuff on it. Like the perfect hair, the perfect makeup. And she's I don't know if she's done this for Sean or not, but she's definitely got a look. And did she learn nothing from last year? I mean, she thought that Felicity was going to quit, and she didn't. Like, she's got to stop making these bets.
Mhm.
She's just wrong.
Yeah. Well, that's our episode. Fish, did you have any censorable lines that you wanted to share?
Yeah, so I'm going to say these are all the same joke.
Okay, okay.
And I cheated.
Oh, well,
So
that's
feel free to
fine.
send us
So
in.
that's a good preface. We're going into the "What the Glove Did They Say" segment, and Fish has self-acknowledged that there's cheating that's happened. Okay.
Yep. So instead of necessarily censoring something, I actually inserted globs
Oh,
just so it would work.
okay, okay, got it.
So as I said, all the same joke. We're just going to go right through them. So the first one is Ben and Sean, and Sean trying to convince Ben, um, let's do this whole thing, and Ben saying, "Yeah, I got plans." Ben says, "I'm getting all my service out of the way. I got 6 jobs over 72 hours, and then I'm done. So Sean says, "Good. We'll come to visit you at those jobs." Ben says, "You're not coming to visit me at those jobs. All right?" Sean says, "Oh, okay. Hey, listen. You think Felicity will want to participate?" Ben says, "No." Sean goes, "Really? Will you help us convince her?" Ben says, "No." Probably through the glass at that point. So
Hmm.
yeah, he's got 6 jobs to do in 72 hours.
Hmm.
And Sean and Richard want to come and film them.
Okay. Seems fair.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
So, same thing. We got Felicity here talking on the documentary to Sean. And Felicity says, "I really want that job." Sean says, "Why?" And Felicity says, "Because it'd be a great experience and plus a little more money." What
Hmm.
what kind of job is Felicity going to do that would give her experience and a little money?
Lawn mowing.
Hmm. Yep.
Hmm.
Yep. Okay.
Yep.
She's going to have to fight for that one.
Okay.
And then last one, we've got Greg here talking about how amazing Felicity is.
Oh.
He says, "What can I say? You're unbelievably hardworking." Felicity says, "Jim could do the job at least as well as I could. True or false?" Greg says, "Hands down. True." Felicity says, "Then I don't want the job." So, what do you think that Felicity could do with her hands down better than Jim could?
Piano tuning.
You don't think either of them would need their hands for that?
Nope.
She's gonna go with it.
Yeah, I'm going with it. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay, that's it. All right,
Wow.
done.
Well, that
For
was
the record, the word glove there the whole time is blow.
Oh, got it. Oh,
Yeah,
well,
that's for Melissa. Everyone else knew.
that was the What the Club Did They Say segment. Well, Fish, we have a couple entries for our favorite segment. After
Yay.
you listen to this tape, you have to erase it. Okay, so to be really honest, there wasn't feedback that felt like perfectly suited for this, but we've had a couple comments about Tracy that I wanted to pull in.
Yay.
Because I do feel like we get some good moments with him here. So
Mhm.
um at Insta.Mickey says, when he came to the show, I was like, oh my God, Clueless, Dion's boyfriend.
Yeah.
But Tracy has that twist of being sweet and intelligent. So major points for that. I'm not a fan of extra competitive people, so maybe that's why Elena is not my favorite. But Tracy makes fun of that sometimes, so he brings a much needed lightness to her, I guess. I think that's true.
I love him in just about everything he's been in. I mean, I probably love him in everything he's been in, but there may be a couple of things I missed out.
Yeah, you
But
haven't seen yet.
kind of feel like he plays a similar character. I mean, he's always got some complexity to him, but it's like smart, kind of a, um, smart ass, charming, you know. I mean, he does the same thing with Dion. Like, Dion really gives it to him, and like, he just takes it and smiles and is really charming and hilarious.
Yeah. Well, that kind of dovetails with the other one that I wanted to share. So at Vanessa Manet said, I love his low key sarcasm. It goes well with her snarky persona.
Mm.
Yeah, I do think that it pairs really well. But I think what we saw in this episode, that fact that like he has a sensitivity that's lying under it, like he's thought about Elena in a deeper way. And so it works. And you can feel that.
I feel that for all of, again, for all of his roles, like
Mm-hmm.
they don't all come out and say it in this way, but like it's always there. It's like he really cares about Dion, and she cares about him too.
Yeah.
Like, and I mean him and Zach Braff. I mean, they're just like the couple of the world
Yeah.
forever. They win.
Well, we love that feedback. I'll just mention it here. If Thank you to anybody who sends us feedback at any point. And if you want to send us feedback or about this episode, any characters, any future episode, Felicity fan art, you can do any of that. You just send it to us at themelissafish@gmail.com. It's Melissa with one L, two S's, themelissafish@gmail.com. You can also find us on Instagram at Felicity Podcast. If you want to know when we drop a new episode, you can sign up for our newsletter wherever you're listening to this, go look for the show notes where there's written stuff about this episode and the link is in there. And while you're doing that, go ahead and rate and review us. It just helps. The more people that do that, the more easier it is for other people who enjoy the show Felicity to find this community. So it's a little bit of housekeeping there, but Fish, let's go ahead and rate this episode.
Okay. Do you
Did
want to
you
go
want to jump in on
first?
that? Do you want me to go? Okay, I will rate this one in the unit of boom mics. Because gosh, that was so great. Um, I'm going to give this one an 8.6 out of 10. And I think this episode is so funny, and there's like a lot of really great humor, and it's very memorable, very distinct. But I'm having a problem with how sloppily written Greg's story is.
Gracias.
Um, like we came up with a lot of holes today,
Mm.
even more than we've seen before. And I do think that the point of Greg still comes across fine, but like the boy, like it is, it's there's a lot of stuff that doesn't make a lot of sense actually. And I feel like somebody didn't compare notes episode to episode to make sure that all this was tracking. And so
Yeah.
I'm getting a little stuck in it. And that's my main argument. with this episode, that it's like not really all lining up. And so that's problematic. And some of the conflict in this episode doesn't really exist. So it's like, oh, okay, well, we live in the episode world that we're in right now, and so it will exist here. But in the real world, some of these things wouldn't be a factor. It's like, I don't know. So 8.6 out of 10 boom mics.
Nice. Yeah, I don't really like the fact that Jim just kind of showed up out of nowhere.
Yeah.
That was a little weird. And like, I agree on the Greg stuff. However, it doesn't really bug me that much. I think I am kind of able to just sort of waffle my way through it and focus on the themes, I guess would be the way to put it.
Yeah.
I guess my main issues were the cop out at the end where like Doug just didn't know he was getting paid and went away.
Mm-hmm.
And as we have discussed at length, I don't like how that then allows Felicity to not actually have to, like, I don't know, make a choice or like say where her values lie. And I don't like the role that Dr. Pavone plays in this at all. Like, I just disagree on a fundamental level that she should be doing this.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Tracy and Elena stuff is adorable. And I think the Richard and Sean stuff is hilarious. And the stuff with Ben is just amazing. And I love the callbacks to season 1. And so I'm very ambivalent about this one. Like, I really liked some things and I really didn't like other things. So I'm coming down at a 7. Like, it's not a 5. It's not like a fully, like, I liked it more than I disliked it. But like, there were a lot of things I didn't like.
Okay. That seems fair. Well, next time we are going to watch an episode called Party Lines. Fish.
So you've told me about that this might be the one that was the one that I probably wouldn't like Greg if I wasn't going to like him.
I'm trying to remember if it's this one or Running Mates, but it's,
I mean, clearly this seems to be about the fact that they're going to run for some office.
Yeah, I've dropped
you already spoiled that
so many times for you that like, yeah.
So
yeah, that's where this kicks off for sure. Yeah. And we'll get into it. We will. I think that's everything for today. Is there anything we missed somehow today?
I can't imagine.
That's almost impossible. Yeah. All right. Well, until next time, Fish. Don't hook up with Ben while I'm gone.
I'm a fish.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.